All right, and we'll record this. All right, y'all. Welcome back, everybody. So now we're officially going to get started. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The purpose of today is we're going to be doing a massive webinar. If you guys couldn't make it to the live tour, this is your chance to interact with a lot of the speakers that were on the tour. We have some incredible traders stopping by. First speaker, Umar Ashraf, an incredible trader right now from out of Dubai, but previously here in the States. We're going to be donating to charity, so we'll have a charity link up in just a few minutes. And basically, if you guys donate, we'll put you guys in raffles. We're giving away free summit tickets, free funding challenges, and everything in between. So if you guys are excited, put something in the chat. I know some of you guys have been waiting patiently. I appreciate all of your patience. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Roy Dunya. I'm the co-founder of Chart Addicts. Let's go ahead and get started with this webinar. Umar, you want to take over and kind of tell the folks a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Umar. I've been trading stocks, options, and futures for the past 6-7 months. Been trading for a little over 10 years now. Heavily, like I said, in the stock market. That's kind of my intro. I don't really have much more than that. For people that follow me, know, I don't really want to talk about P&Ls, numbers, and things like that. I've logged into my account, showcased, I guess, the numbers and stuff and all that good stuff. So obviously anything I really talk about in the trading world, I sort of have experience and sort of have a backing to it. So that's really about it from my end.
All right. So can you tell people a little bit about your trading style?
Sure. So my trading style over the past few years has been consistent, but my strategies have been different. And that's something I want to talk about today. I'm kind of an intraday trader. I scalp and I am day trading some of my strategies, and those strategies that I do trade is the key component of my trading. What I have noticed in from 2020 till 2023, and what I've noticed from 2013 till now, is that the market changes a lot. And the main thing you guys have to do and be aware of is you guys have to adapt to the market, right? So there's times where some of my strategies work extremely well. Like, for example, people that have been following maybe me on Twitter or something for the past couple of months, I've been trading an opening top strategy, right? Blowing top strategy, whatever it's called, right? And that's worked really, really well in certain market conditions, in certain environments. Now that has stopped working, or we stopped seeing similar movements, right? So what I'm trying to get to is the strategies you guys built, or your playbooks or your setups that you guys built now may be perfect for a certain time period, but you have to understand that after markets change, which markets will change, right? Markets will adjust to new environments and new movements. You have to be able to pick up on that. What I've noticed with a lot of traders, especially early on, is they'll find a strategy, they'll find some strategies, they'll make good money for a month, 6 weeks, some even shorter, 2 weeks. And when the market shifts, they're unable to recognize the shift. They're unable to recognize that, hey, things are not the same as they were a few weeks ago or a few months ago. So what they do is they double down on their strategy, or double down on the way they're trading, or the setups they're focused on. And that ultimately causes them to lose money. Now, obviously, the only way you'll start picking up that your strategy is working or not is once you kind of take the trades, you see it's not working and so on. But that's where kind of defense kicks in my opinion. Right. And that's another skill set that we traders need to have.
So, I mean, this might be and that was really well said, but this might be specific to like different traders. But when should somebody, like, how can you be aware of this is a market cycle shift, or like, let's say a losing streak? How many trades in a row would you be able to gauge that your strategy is no longer working versus, just throwing the strategy away versus might just be like a bump in the road?
Okay, good question. So first thing you want to establish is your strategy or strategies viable, right? That's number one, right? So it depends on what stage you're at. If you're someone that's a beginner, I'm assuming most people are in the beginning stage or on the unprofitable stage. At that point, it's hard to dictate what is real and what is not real, meaning what works, what doesn't work. So once you do cross that hump of finding something that works, and when I say finding something that works, I want to be very precise about that. It's not about, well, I took one trade and I made $2,000. This is the best strategy. No, I mean, there's consistency behind that setup. There's consistency behind the action. There's consistency behind the risk reward ratio. So I can give you a setup where I make $2,000, right? But I risked 6,000. Okay, that does not really align well within those parameters. So once that strategy within a certain parameter makes sense and it does work a few times and it is consistent, now it goes into, when do I know this strategy, under what market conditions does this strategy work under? That's another component I've noticed traders don't have. They'll have strategies and they'll wake up every day, attack the markets with that strategy, and not realize that a certain strategy or a certain way of looking at the markets will not be applicable to every single trading day or every single trading environment, right? So for me, for example, I have a few strategies, right? One strategy might be something that works very well when the market is in a negative or bearish sentiment. Now, looking at a macro point of view, if the market starts stalling or the market sentiment flips on a macro point and we start becoming bullish or we're oversold, that strategy now is not something I want to pull out of the toolbox and focus on, because it's not working on that in those environments. So paying attention to what environments your strategy works on, what the environment currently is, that's where like macro point of views do matter. I know some intraday traders are like, oh, I don't care about the macro events. Yeah, you don't need to care about the macro events, but you need to understand sentiment. You need to understand what is the market, what direction is the market wanting to go with the, all the news and the events going on in the world.
There we go. So you run TradeZella, which is an analytics platform for traders. And so I think you're a good person to kind of talk about the analytical side of trading. So why is the analytics so important? And if you can talk about what drove you to really get into that.
Sure. So I think journaling in every aspect of your life, especially parts of your life that you want to improve, right, is very important, right? You run multiple businesses. You understand, if you have businesses and you don't have a balance sheet, you don't have a profit and loss statement, you don't have these metrics for your business, you don't know what parts of your business are strong or weak. Same thing if you're kind of, let's say, going to the gym. If you want to take it serious, any person that takes the gym serious, they're tracking their weights, tracking, their reps and things like that. Same thing in trading, right? Trading is a career that it has such an easy kind of barrier of entry, right? Where anyone can legitimately go open an account, have money in the account, and put on a trade in like 5 minutes in today's world, right? So because of that easy barrier of entry, everyone avoids the real things that need to be done to set up the business, because trading is essentially a business. So now the only way I personally feel anything gets improved is when you start measuring it. So that's where I think the idea of journaling, the idea of looking at your stats, understanding what stats to look at, plays a key role, because it allows you to identify your strengths. It allows you to identify your weaknesses. It allows you to identify, what is working and what is not working, right? I know some traders, they'll plug in their data and they'll realize that there's one strategy or one setup that they trade that ultimately causes them to lose money. Now, some traders don't even know what setup makes them make money or what setups don't work. Some traders don't even know what setups work great under what market conditions. Some traders don't even know how they're handling different levels of size, right? Hey, when should I size up? When should I size down? When should I be aggressive? When should I not be aggressive? There's two sides of it. There's the technical side, and then there's the emotional side, right? When we go into a lot of people trying to go into the trading world, you have to understand there's a lot of, I guess, emotional baggage that we as traders are carrying that carry over to our trading world, right? So days like, hey, you might have to go to work at 11 a.m. and the market, you're trading the first hour of the market because you have to go to work at 11 a.m. You're maybe forcing trades just to put on trades, right? Maybe you didn't sleep all night. So very small, minor things that are causing your trading performance to alter. Maybe you're waiting for the weekend to come, towards Monday because you haven't traded the past 2 days. You're looking to put on a trade. There's so many different components that matter, that once you start really digging down into your analytics, digging down into your numbers, you start getting a good sense of it.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the favorite part of that is when you mentioned that ease of access kind of being a double-edged sword. It's because it's so easy to trade that people don't pay attention to kind of the nitty-gritty. If you had like one or two tools for people to, like, habits that people could build to be a better trader, what would those skills be?
I think number one, trading wise, the biggest thing you need to understand, you need to find kind of a niche, right? You need to know what you want to trade, how you want to trade, and take it from there, right? What I mean by that is I've noticed a lot of traders, they kind of jump from strategy to market without having any sort of, foundational backing, right? So for example, let's say me, I start from scratch tomorrow. I would pick a market I want to trade, right? Be it Forex, be it crypto, be it stocks, be it futures, whatever the case may be, pick a market. Once I pick the market, now I want to understand what are my risk parameters. Now, if I have $1,000 account, I'm not going to say, hey, I want to take my $1,000 account and make $1 million in the next year. Like have my risk parameters. After my risk parameters, have a few setups and strategies. I don't need 10, I don't need 20, I need 3. Say, these are my 3 strategies that I'm focused on. When should I focus on these strategies? What market conditions should I focus on these strategies? And then trade them with the least size possible. Don't go into trading, especially your first 6 months, looking to make money. Go into the market with one idea. I want to stay alive with my capital for as long as possible. I want to test out my strategies as long as possible. I want to be on the playing field as long as possible. And the playing field is when you use real money, not paper trading, not none of that, real money. Once you're on the playing field for a long period of time, you're able to protect your capital. You're able to, kind of get your feet wet in terms of identifying what strategies are working, what strategies are not working. In that time period, let's say 6 months, you start getting a good understanding of yourself. You get a good understanding of the market, and you get a good understanding of what works and what doesn't work. But you need to keep that mindset of that next 6 months, I don't want to make money. I'm trying to stay break even. If I can stay break even for 6 months, and for people that are looking at that like, wait, what's the point of me making money? Just flip that. Flip that for one second. For people that are unprofitable, flip your mindset and say, for the next 6 months, I don't want to make a lot of money. I just want to be break even. Right now, don't create that pressure. And now when that pressure aspect is eliminated, you will have a much easier time to enjoy the process and much easier time to absorb everything that is happening throughout that process.
That's so important. Removing the pressure. So like really prioritizing the process versus the end goal, really trying to focus on one step at a time. Like some folks will go from losing money for a long time to wanting to make, 10x their returns in a month. There is a middle ground, which is stop bleeding out, stop losing the money. And I think that's what you just touched on. That's really good. Is there anything else that you feel like is important for traders that you see from the analytical side that folks are not paying attention to today?
I think it's data collection. So I think a lot of times, even with journals and things, traders believe that, if I get a journal or if I get a tool, it automatically makes my trading better. No, with any tool, with any service, with anything out there, there's a component of, you have to understand these tools are just tools, right? They work if you work. They work if you use them the right way. So for example, journaling, right? A journaling tool will be affected if you do have the proper data collection. What I mean by that is if I'm plugging in my data into a journaling software, any software, Excel, whatever it may be, and my markets I'm trading are crypto, Forex, futures, different lot sizes, different contracts, and all those things, it's very hard for me to kind of narrow down into what the consistency aspect should be. Right. So that's where what I was saying before, to find a niche, scale down on it, and get as good as possible as you can on it, and take it from there. Same thing with size, right? Keep your size consistent, keep your loss consistent. If your loss per trade is $100, or let's just say 1% or 2%, keep that consistent. Because once you start altering that, you have a hard time to know what is working and what is not working. So imagine I'm like, all right, my risk per trade is $100. My profit per trade is 200 or 300. Now, let's say one trade, I increase my risk to 600 to make 3,000, and I make 3,000, right? Now I'm profitable because of that one trade. I allow my whole trading kind of process be contingent on one trade, good or bad, but that's not replicable because of the idea that I can't keep putting on the same size. Right. So that's where like the data collection and keeping numbers and things consistent play a role, and just minimizing risk, especially early on. Because if you minimize risk, and you can still be here from a year from now with the same capital, and you're not blowing through 9 accounts or 10 accounts or whatever the case is, you don't have that kind of baggage of just, pressure and destroying money and the fear of losing more money and things like that.
All right. This has been absolutely incredible. I'm taking notes, so I really hope that everybody who's watching at home is taking notes too. Market cycle shift. One of the biggest takeaways here is that a lot of folks are just pressuring one strategy in a market cycle that might not be consistent with that strategy. Find something consistent, because if you want consistent results, you have to have a consistent strategy. And then prioritize the process and remove expectations and remove unnecessary pressure to give yourself time to develop as a trader. Did I get that right, Umar?
Perfect. Good
stuff. Where can we find you? Where can people find you, Umar?
Instagram, my first name, last name, Umar Ashraf. If people want to find me, I'm there, or Twitter, same thing.
Okay. Good stuff. Umar, you feel free to stay on for the rest of the call. I know it's pretty late where you're at, so I really appreciate your time. Thank you for stopping by. And ladies and gents, did you want to do any giveaways or anything while you're here, or do you want to just hang out for the call?
I'll probably do a giveaway for TradeZella. I'll do that. I didn't think about it until you brought it up. So however you want to set up an account, I'll give it free year access to TradeZella. However you want to set it up, whoever the winner is, shoot me a text and we'll get them on.
Okay, sounds good. So the first 10 people to donate, it could be as little as $5, guys. The first 10 people to donate are going to get put in a raffle to get free TradeZella for a whole year. Shout out to Umar. Umar, I appreciate the generosity, bro.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
There we go.
Bye-bye.
Good stuff. All right, everybody, let me know in the chats how we feeling so far. We good? Guys, Umar has been trading for years. The guy's 10 M's in an account. All right, so serious trader. And now he's building an analytical company for traders. So he really gets to see in the back end people's wins, people's losses, like the percentage of people really making money, what works, what doesn't work. So I think it's been absolutely incredible having him on and really kind of showing us the back end. So if you guys want to be a part of that, the link for the GoFundMe is in the chats. I'm going to go ahead and post it again. The first 10 people to donate will get put in a raffle. We'll select a number 1 through 10. And then we'll pick a winner, get you guys free years access. All right. What's up, Austin?
What's up, boss? You doing all right tonight?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. We have 100 person limit on the call. So right now we're streaming on YouTube and we got the Zoom link here for the guys.
I was catching it on YouTube there for a minute, so I just got caught up to speed and got access in the Zoom link. Exclusive group in here, man.
Yeah, very exclusive. Very, very exclusive. So the 100 people that showed up first, that's why it always pays to be early. It always pays to come up first. Wait, I'm a little bit behind on the YouTube. Okay, we're good. Got about 103 people watching on YouTube. All right, yeah, I apologize if anybody wanted to get on the Zoom link. We tried to set it up in a way that everyone could get on, but unfortunately we could not. So we're going to have some more incredible speakers come on. I have a good friend of mine, Austin Collins, aka Dak Days. He's a tremendous trader, but he's also developing a lot of stuff in the NFT space. He's derugged a bunch of projects from the ground up. He's an incredible person to ask questions about NFTs, the future of NFTs, but also one of the best US 30 scalpers I've ever seen. So you guys can pick his brain about whatever you want. Austin, welcome to the call. And then as soon as Austin's done, I want to show you guys some of the trades I'm looking at taking tonight. And maybe we'll take a few trades together live while everyone's here. But welcome, Austin.
Beautiful, man. Thanks for having me. Do I have a screen share access, or do you want to keep it on your screen for the call?
No, you got it.
Cool. I'm gonna pop it over to the screen real quick.
All right, I see you guys' donations. Good stuff.
Beautiful. Roy, you able to see my screen over here?
Yep.
All right, beautiful. So what's up, guys? I don't know if you guys can see me or see my screen. Appreciate you guys having me on. As Roy was talking about, I kind of do two things in this space. I have been trading for about 5 years now. Been trading US 30 pretty much for all 5 years. Been studying 930 market open for pretty much every day. So just watching how the market responds, then studying the cycles that happen, news events, and just pretty much been focusing on one thing and being really good at it. Within this pair, I beat my impatience by dropping down to lower time frames. On this pair, there's a lot of volatility that occurs. And for me, I noticed that patterns repeat in a fractalized market. And on the 1 minute time frame, I see a lot more repeating patterns in US 30 than I do in some of the other pairs that take a little bit longer to set up. So I'm actually going to drop down. Well, actually, let's go up to the higher time frame. Most of you guys know what Fibonacci's are. Obviously, if you're in this call, you've got some experience. This is usually the only things that I work with, just working from higher lows to lower lows and finding different retracements areas. One of the key takeaways, if you guys actually study something on this call, it's going to blow you guys' mind. If you actually took a trade when price retraces to the 50% zone, 50% of the time, just took a random entry, you would be correct. 50% of the time. That actually makes you a profitable trader. You're only looking to win a third of your trades. Now, the thing is, you have to know that that Fibonacci is positioned in the correct area. And that's the reason why most traders will lose whenever they're using Fibonacci's. They don't know necessarily where to position them at. So just looking at higher time frames, you can see, you know, a high, a low, retracement to the 50%, 618, and a retracement. You know, you see this break of structure. You end up seeing another retracement back up to the 50%, came up and even tapped the 786, 886 zone, but did not break that previous high. So you get this continuation to the downside, this break of structure. What do you get? You get another retracement back up to that 50%, 618 zone, and then you get a continuation to the downside. So right here was where we had a lot of news in the market. You kind of get a whipsaw down to the downside. You've broken up the top here. And now kind of we're hanging out in this area, right? So we've got a whole lot of debate on whether we're coming to fill this gap here, or if we're going to come fill these wicks up here and keep pushing higher. So, you know, that's a higher level on the market, you know, and I'm not really the expert to, you know, debate any of that stuff. And the good news is I don't have to be. I don't really even care about any of it. You know, I listen to people like Roy talk about it because he's way smarter than me in that area. You know, I don't know the fundamentals. I don't necessarily understand them all the time, but I understand math and I understand patterns. And this same occurrence, I see on the 1 minute time frame over and over again on the US 30. You know, you'll study different market structures, different Fibonacci patterns that play out very, very frequently. So we'll just take, for instance, you know, one of the current lows that just got put in, different trades that I took, ended up noticing a Fibonacci pattern here, and then took a couple different trades to end out the day. And this is necessarily what I do, just finding different patterns, different trends, scalping on the 1 minute to different take profit extension levels. And then this is where I extract my money. And then I roll over to the NFT space. And this is what Roy kind of alluded to. This is another layer of the market. Not too many people explore this area, but you're basically trading access passes into different communities. You're basically, you know, most people understand that they're JPEGs. JPEGs are literally just pictures. So whenever you look at these, this is considered the Utes collection and community. So it's a group of people in the Web3 space, whether they're developers, programmers, artists, web developers, maybe just entrepreneurs, business people trying to connect. They are building these Web3 identities. So if anybody here has heard of the metaverse, this is something that, you know, people are trying to build alternative identities with. I still, you know, like myself, I take care of my body. I will always, you know, be in this space. But there is a certain section of people that do believe that they want to go digital, and they'll go through that, through this process. So for me, I'm more interested in the financial side of it. Whenever you look at projects, they have their flows in their charts, just like the markets do. They have their same patterns. They have their same, let's actually pull up a chart real quick that I love to show here. And this is something that really stood out to me just from an understanding of how life works. This is called the emotions of the market, psychology of the market cycles. That if you've never seen this before, take a screenshot of this, leave it as your background or screensaver for a little while, because all of these emotions are exactly what you feel whenever you're trading. And they're the same things that happen whenever you're looking at the market flow. These are different feelings that people are expressing. This market is just a representation of us, you know, and how we feel or trust a certain currency, a certain pair, a certain relationship. And then these candles are just, you know, the in real time feedback. Well, these cycles, you know, they happen everywhere. So from an NFT perspective, you have like a community that's basically launching a new project. Everybody wants it to go really well. They've got this feeling of optimism that it's going to go really well, some belief, you know, prices going really good. Then you kind of hit this area of complacency, anxiety, and denial. And this is where, you know, certain projects fail. If you understand, 99% of NFT projects will fail because they have nothing behind them to withstand this type of this type of structure. So we see this on larger scales. Even on crypto cycles, when you study Bitcoin, you can still understand that these cycles play out, to a T. If you look here and you look here, it's the same thing, right? You're kind of in this disbelief pump, right? A lot of people right here are like, wow, I didn't think that 15 was the bottom. I wish I bought there, right? So you're seeing this play out on a larger scale. But like I said, this is something that happens on 1 minute time frames as well. So that's where I've found my best trading to be. Trading in between the Fibonacci's is what I call them. Most of the time I don't actually trade on my computer. I just mark up things on my phone. It's something that, I've done. And I know that it's against a lot of different rules that a lot of other traders use, but that's something that, I enjoy. So yeah, guys, that's kind of my take. Like I said, I really just am scalping US30 on different time frames. I'm not in anything right now. Some of the key takeaways, like I have found over the years, is you'll have this kind of push out from Fibonacci's from this high down to this low point, this initial retracement up to this 50% 618 zone. And you're either going to get a continuational tap of the 786. Sometimes you get a break down to this 236 zone. And this is kind of just where the debates come in, right? So we were looking for buying momentum to show up here. We never got that retracement. Instead, we got this tap of the 786 all the way up here. So this is kind of what we're looking at for indices. I saw Q drop to market outlook. I know that he is a little more, long-term than I am, but this is where I'm just seeing current positions of buyer and seller demand. So as of right now, we are still kind of in a seller type market. Until we break out of this, then we've obviously got some buyers in control. But this is just how I look at it. We've got selling pressure Fibonacci with our last buying pressure Fibonacci that I definitely need to correct because I hadn't been on here yet. Let's clean this up a little bit. And I go over calls with chart addicts. I drop Zoom calls where I'll go over my scalping strategy at least once or twice a week to really give some people some insights, on those lower time frames. The reason why this is the last buying Fibonacci is we've got this push out without a retest toward this 50% 618 area. This is one of those areas that price has to come back to in order to have a healthy price action of buyers and sellers equally participating in the market. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen right now. Price can continue to move forward, but at some point buyers will hit here. And this gives us like key identification levels of turnarounds or reversals on news days. Whenever you see, quick spikes down to these areas, this is what NFP, will set up for. You'll have price all the way up here. You'll get a wick to the top and create a new high, and then you'll see these drop-offs. And people are so confused as to what is actually sending price down to these levels. But it's just a healthy price action from this last fib. So that's one of the things that I've found. And like I said, I'll have this as my Fibonacci all week that I'll be trading in, and this is a 5 minute. On the 1 minute, we'll go over some trades that I kind of worked in today. Roy, how much time I got, or is anybody else on?
We got a few more minutes.
Cool.
I want to see if we can actually save some time to talk about NFTs too, if we have a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We can actually rotate over there now if you want to. I know there's some other people that'll chop up the charts.
Yeah, let's see if we can provide some value there, because I don't think anybody else is going to be able to give an in-depth kind of overview.
Yeah.
So in case you guys don't know, Austin spoke at the FX Summit conference last year. If you guys don't know what that is, it's a conference that we host every year for investors, traders, and crypto. Austin was speaking about the crypto market and the NFT market, but it was in a very different place back then. Austin, how have things changed since back then? Kind of what is the NFT space like today versus a year ago?
Yeah, so number one, we're in a bear market. So there's a lot of volatility that's kicked in and a lack of trust that's came into the space. So you've had things like the FTX situation occur. You've had things that have directly affected the NFT market. So there's not as much liquidity. There's not as much risk assets that are being, invested in right now. So there's not as much liquidity, not as many active wallets. This is usually the last cycle for, let's say like a Bitcoin pump. This is where you'll see like the very last little bit of exit where people are really trying to pump through volume and really make those pushes. So as of right now, there's not too much activity, but there's still people that are building. There's still companies, there's still corporations that are set up. A lot of networking behind the scenes is going on right now. So, you know, with these 4-year cycles, everybody kind of builds in silence in those 3 years, and then really goes for that, you know, peak euphoria, and we'll all push together. There's different blockchains that are starting to come together. So blockchains are just different forms of cryptocurrency. Many of you guys have heard of Bitcoin. Some of the other top NFT cryptocurrencies that are used is Ethereum, as well as Solana. This OpenSea marketplace is mainly used for Ethereum. There's a project called the Bored Apes that is one of the more traded projects. These kind of go for, I think, $110,000, $120,000 a piece. And you're pretty much getting access, you know, to this community of people. You have entrepreneurs, artists, celebrities, and this is kind of just considered, you know, top-notch tier. And you got to think of it as a business entrepreneur side. You know, how much would you pay to get access to a certain person? And that's what some of these are. And that's, you know, how at least I've leveraged it on a smaller scale. Ethereum was one of the projects, one of the cryptocurrencies that was earlier to market. Solana was kind of like a secondary. They just launched a partnership with Google because they have very extremely fast transactions. I think they're averaging about 6 to 7 million per day still, while some of the other blockchains are only experiencing 500 to 1,000. The most, I think, is like 100,000. So yeah, so with that being said, this market space, there's just different liquidity, different ways to make gains. I've been able to take some of my profits from trading, put in maybe $100 into a project here, wait a couple weeks, and the floor price sometimes can 2x, 3x, 4x if you invest in the right ones. So some of these, you're seeing gains that are absolutely astronomical. I had a friend who put in $9 last year into Solana, bought one NFT and sold it yesterday for $15,000. So turn $9 into $15,000. So it will take you a while to understand this space. A lot of it may not make sense to you from an outside perspective. I've invested a lot of time and energy in this marketplace, understanding different projects, understanding the flow of liquidity, understanding, when the entries and exits, just like trading, that happens in this space. What I'm saying is there's people all around the world that are redistributing wealth through this process, and you can be a part of it. You just have to kind of understand how to navigate the space. So like I said, $10 into 15 grand. I've had friends do it. It's possible. And that seems like a fairy tale, but it kind of relieves some stress if you can do it properly, to not necessarily feel like you have to make 15 grand trading. And that's one of the things that was really good for me. I had to turn stuff that was, tangible. So I would make a withdrawal and I would buy NFTs because I felt like it was a little more tangible. I had an asset, I had something to hold on to. So yeah, that's a little bit about my process. What do you want to know about the ecosystem, man? What do you want to know where it's going? Because it's been a difficult year. I can say that. There's still a lot ahead. There's still a lot of people building.
Yeah, what we can do is we'll take one audience question, so you can kind of read through them and see if any of them stand out to you. And let's see if anybody in the chats has a good question here.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just want to say quick thank you to everybody who donated. The first top 10 people that donated, I see you, and I have something very special for you guys as soon as Austin's done. I'm going to blow your mind.
Do you see anything in the YouTube chat with any good questions?
Oh, he's saying y'all ain't asking good questions in the Zoom.
No, I got nothing right now.
AMG Psy in the house. Yo, I know that we're having trouble getting folks on the Zoom call, but keep trying that link and you'll be able to get on. I'm a big holder in Stay Stacked Titans. I don't see anything in YouTube either.
Cool, you're good. So I'll go over this project. This is called DeGods. Some of these projects or some of these collectibles are going for over $100,000 today. I held one of these at one point. I sold, I think at like 100. They're now going for 630. So just understand that this project was minted for $30. If you held, I think it's only been a year and a half that these have been around, and they're going for, over $100,000. So just understand that, it's very lucrative. This is definitely a space where a lot of wash trading and a lot of money laundering does take place. So that's something that, you know, I'm not ignorant to. I know that that happens. I've definitely witnessed it firsthand. There's not a whole lot of regulations and rules in this space. I can definitely, you know, say that, like I said, there's a lot of shady stuff that does happen in this area. But there's a lot of opportunity here as well. And you just have to be able to navigate it, you know, correctly. At one point last year, I had $1 million worth of a portfolio, liquidated some, also had the bear market kick in, probably about $500,000 of kind of a you know, portfolio at this point in NFTs. Expectation is to see that 5x in the next year and buy a house with it. So we'll see how it goes.
Good stuff. Yeah, you guys did hear that he did say M's, and he did say he built it from scratch. And so that's absolutely incredible. Austin's not only done incredible things with investing, because I'll be honest, you can get lucky investing. I have gotten lucky investing in this space. When you do it repeatedly and you're able to build communities from scratch, I think that goes to show a certain level of understanding. So Austin's one of the most integrated people in the NFT space, just having built communities, being inside and looking at the technology, being on the front lines. So I think especially today, when things are moving so fast, it's important to learn from people who are on the front lines, who are building this technology for the next 2, 3, 4 years. And that's what Austin's doing. So I really appreciate your insight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like you said, it's about that community building. It's about what are we doing here, right? So we're on the space to find community within the trading industry, right? Like a lot of the times we feel like we're alone and that we, you know, don't have anybody to really grow and scale our life with. Whenever we're limited to the people around us, you know, we feel very cut off. And like I said, there's definitely low points in your trading journey that you need, you know, that additional support. And with, you know, the Web3 experience in life, like you're finding other people all around the world that, you know, have common interests and are helping you grow. So, you know, you guys are already in the Chart Addicts Discord. I drop links in there to go over scalping strategy, answer anything about NFTs, trying to make myself available. So yeah, that's where you guys can find me at. And then if you're interested in NFT space, I have a project, the Bored Ape Solana Club. Roy talked about it. I think the project rugged for a couple $1 million. And then, you know, we've basically been able to save the community, build it into a structure, build a partnership with Chart Addicts to give some utility to them, which has been a big blessing. So just teaching people how to navigate this space safely. And, you know, that's kind of the education, right? Like we're still young, we're still building, and we want to do it. I know Roy is always talking about, you know, reputation and trying to, you know, really make sure Chart Addicts is always top notch, baby. And I think we continue to do that. So Roy, thanks for having me on, man. And if anybody needs to hit me up, find me in the Discord.
There we go. I appreciate your time, Austin, always. I know you've had a long day, so I appreciate you taking some time out, talking to folks, giving out some serious value. And thankfully, this is recorded for y'all, so you guys can always go back and learn more. I know some people are beginners on this call, and so you'll be able to go. Me and Austin also have a few podcasts on YouTube that are completely free. Go check them out if you guys are complete beginners. He breaks things down masterfully. And if you guys want to learn more about us, you can find him in the Chart Addicts chat. So good stuff. Austin, thank you, sir. All right. We have, I believe, Jason Stewart, aka QB Stu, in the house.
Real smart. What's up, bro?
My guy.
How's the call been so far? I had to do everything I could do just to get on here.
Bro, somebody set up the link so that it only lets 100 people in. We have special guests blowing up my phone right now. So we are putting out fires while masterfully keeping the flow of this entire call going. And this is what mastery looks like in process. So I appreciate everybody getting on. Jason, I appreciate your time. Guys, in case you don't know, or guys and gals, Jason Stewart, incredible trader, entrepreneur, philanthropist. Catch him at Thanksgiving in Nova. But we just went on a world tour together, a countrywide tour. We hit top 5 cities in America: Atlanta, New York, Washington, D.C., Scottsdale, Arizona, and Dallas, Texas. We basically went out and just did a free free seminars all over the country. Jason gave so much value, and we kind of made a list of some of this value that we're going to put out later. but I want you guys to really take notes on everything that Jason says, because he does go pretty quick and there are a lot of gems, and make sure you guys are asking great questions. Like Austin was here. Austin is honestly one of the most skilled people in the NFT space. And so if there was ever a time that you guys wanted to talk to someone who's on the front lines, it would have been then. So take good notes, ask good questions, and show some love in the chat for Austin and for Jason.
Yeah, Austin, I love how humble he is too, because like really if he wanted to flex, he could, but you know, I love that he flexes with God's creations, with like nature and mountains and travel and experiences. So yeah, that's some flowers for Austin. But yeah, man, life has been good, man. Honestly, that tour, we did a lot of traveling. I just got back from Memphis. I'm in Atlanta now. I was marking some charts up earlier, like especially XRP and some of those cryptos that we were telling are like, you know, just suggesting people take a look at. So yeah, I don't know if you want me to share my screen. I know most of the time when I speak, I'm like doing more of inspirational, and I'm going to talk to you guys about my relationship with God. But I know for this call, the cool part about doing a Zoom is that we could really just dive into the charts. Because I know most people here, that's what people that went to the events outside of Nova, and Roy, correct me if I'm wrong, outside of Nova, everyone got just straight talk. So what's cool, at least even what was fascinating to me about what Austin just did, is actually like diving into the project, showing you what they look like, showing you how much they cost. Like, so let's see here. I'm gonna share my screen.
Yeah, that was a big reason why we wanted to do this. Is I understand some of you guys came out to the live webinar tour, and we appreciate everyone that came out. We really wanted to provide some technical value, and unfortunately we were limited in a lot of the spaces as to the equipment that we could have. So this is our chance to kind of make it up to you guys.
Exactly. And once again, I mean, shout out to Roy, Chart Addicts, that whole FX Summit crew, because nobody in the space has ever done what these guys are doing. So to me, it's just phenomenal to even be a part of it, especially since Roy and I come from a similar area in Nova. So we got to hold it down for our hood, you know, and this is something that I took time to do today earlier, just because I was just curious to see what was actually good with XRP. But I think it actually does a pretty cool breakdown when you take the high of each year and the low of each year, and that kind of also like graphically gives you an idea or a picture on whether the year has been bullish or bearish, and then as well as the volume that year has had. So 2017, we saw that we reached a high of $2.44. And then the very next year, early in the year, we reached a high of $3.29. And you can just see the difference in volume. This is where you're seeing a lot of money going in, but then quickly a lot of money coming out. And I think that just was the market not quite being ready, and consumers not being ready. And then you see here in 2021, in the midst coming right out of a year from COVID, and there's like a lot of stimulus in the economy. There's an injection. You're seeing a lot more volume than you did in those previous years. So 2019 and 2020 were kind of dead as far as volume is concerned. And then you're starting to see this pickup. And what I do like is the fact that we are close, or at least approaching, crossing over both of these moving averages. That's always at least slightly promising. That this is not to say that this is the year that crypto is going to take off and go crazy, but I do at least, I mean, we can all, as investors, we can all at least be excited when we're starting to see volume push in the right direction. And so the only reason I put this price point here is this was actually March 9th. For those of you that were at the Fairfax, Virginia location at George Mason, we did put a couple different coins on the board, and that was 39 cents. And right now it's like hovering a little over 50 cents. So for people who had taken some time to look into it and at least, you know, maybe invest something, you guys should be up. But to me, this is just fascinating, especially since when we look at the highs of where it previously was, I mean, we're approaching 55 cents. So we've crossed over both moving averages. We're starting to see volume, and I really just want to see 55 cents break. And then that will at least have me thinking that we're potentially, you see the moving average right there as well at that 55-cent mark. So that would just at least give me some hope that we're heading back in the right direction, because I feel like even as we look at the lows of each year, I mean, 29 cents, 28 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents. So that's important too, is like we're still getting yearly higher lows with this asset. So then the other one that I wanted to at least bring to some attention was this Bax coin. And it's very similar to Telcoin, where the whole premise and concept of it is basically allowing anybody with a smartphone to have some type of banking system. And that's important because there's so many people in the world with phones, but there's also a massive amount of people that do not have access to a bank. They can't just walk down the street and go to Bank of America. They can't go to Wells Fargo. They can't go to, you name it. There's not a bank, or like, it's not a modern world like it is in the US that we take for granted so often. So with Telcoin and with Bax, it's basically anybody who has a smartphone will then be able to start banking. And this was the price point. I mean, it's not even a penny yet. So that's, you know, this is obviously a lot more of a kind of a riskier investment, but to me, it just makes sense. Like they've stuck around even with a lot of the rug pull coins. They've been here for a long time. I think all the way back since 2000 and at least 2021 from at least from KuCoin showing. But I mean, look at this on the weekly too. This is always good when we're starting to see this type of volume. So that kind of does it on the crypto side. With crypto, I'm an investor. I'm not a day trader of crypto. I'm an investor of crypto. I'm really viewing it as buried treasure. And I think that when we look at the dollar, even as a whole, you know, I think for the most part, I'll delete everything. We had such an insurgence of dollar push all through last year. And now we're starting to cross back below these averages. And I think with a lot of these other countries, whether it's Russia, China, a lot of these countries are starting to get together to try to affect the US economy as well. So I do see the dollar potentially coming back down to some of these like more current states around here, like 97, 98. So that's just my anticipation. With that being said, let's hop into UJ. This is my favorite pair to trade. Let's go to the daily real quick. So kind of the same thing. I put a blue zone every time that we had a bullish close over the 50 and the 200. And just about every time I did that, I mean, you can see on the daily, it maintained for hundreds and hundreds of pips. And then it reached a high of 151.94. This was in November of 2022. And since reaching that high, we obviously haven't gotten past 138.17, which was basically the start of that bearish close. So you can also see with the higher highs and higher lows as it's maintaining on that average. Once we created that high right here, and once we had basically broken back below, which came on this candle right here, then that actually started to shift the overall direction. And this is also where, when I put the red zones, that's because we had a daily bearish close below the 50 and the 200. So even when we get that close, that doesn't mean just immediately sell. That just means that you can start looking for pullback opportunities, because we are now, the market has, or at least the volume has at least shown us that it could be deciding to actually turn back over. Now notice these are the only 3 red zones that we've had literally in the last year and a half. So that's important because we've just been riding this bullish wave. UJ on the daily time frame has just been riding a bullish wave, and now we're starting to see correction, especially as the dollar is seeing correction as well. So my anticipation with this point A being where this actual bearish move broke structure, and then to this point B down here, the low of that move, 127.21. Then we have retracement to this 88.6 area, which also then became the second touch of the trend line. And then once we got this bearish close right here, below both moving averages again, then that allowed us to put another zone there, which it then retested again later. And I'm just anticipating price to come down to 120 area which is a pretty substantial move. I mean, even from where price is at right now, that's a little over 1,000 pips. And so even as we jump down to the 4-hour, this is where we can start to assess correction. And I do anticipate UJ could push up again to this area once more, or even to this area. But that's where you can use some of your counter trend lines and stuff just to make, just to keep an eye on the lower time frames. But that's what I'm seeing. So really, I'm just looking for short opportunities, even if price does push back up to this area, which is like 132.68, and test that again, or test the moving average again. That's what I'm anticipating. But the overall projection that I have for UJ is at least back to this low at 127, and then 124, and then 120.67.
When you're 8 lots deep in a UJ buy, and one of your boys who's a trader gets on talking about he's looking for massive sells to 120. Oh,
but I do see correction though. That's the thing. I
should have never put on this webinar. No,
I do see correction. Just as of right now on H4, we're seeing lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So this area right here will be critical. So it could push up. I mean, how many pips are you looking to try to catch here?
it was 132.4 is my target.
132.4.
The 78% from the previous high.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely.
No, I mean, you're making a convincing case with the lower highs. I mean, the structure is clearly bearish. So even if it does push up, I think the smart thing to do would be wait for a zone to go short.
And then, I mean, the thing though, is like, even on the daily time frame, this is always something to go look at as well, because this was the low, and we're still on the daily time frame, creating higher highs and higher lows as well, because these low points are still higher than the previous low points, because a lot of this area is just continuation zone. So the fact that we're like settling on this area, this is one. I can try to get that a little bit closer. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, like 3 or 4 different touches on that trend line. So I mean, like I said, bro, you should be straight. You should be straight. I'm swinging this thing. So I'm just looking for a pullback area. Even if we do that's kind of the area where I'm anticipating it could pull back too. So, because that's a bit on the 4-hour time frame, that's like a bit steep of a trend line. So it's like it could come more like along this area. So
Look, I don't need you to make me feel better, man. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna hold this trade regardless. We're gonna see how this thing plays out. But Jason, I really appreciate the breakdown, because there was 2 parts to it. One was kind of breaking down crypto, breaking down some of the coins, because I don't know if you guys kind of skipped over it. When we were doing the DMV workshop, Jason had written 4 coins on the board. And since then, every single one of those coins is up about 70 to 80%. Some of them have doubled in value. Now, this is not financial advice. Don't go FOMOing into these coins. That's not what we're saying. What we are saying is the timing was a little bit, on point, and it kind of pays to pay attention. Some of the people, they saw the names on the board, they didn't go home and do any research at all. They didn't go see if these were viable investments. They didn't go and try to see if these things had, good technology or a good use case that was worth investing in. Some folks did, and they were able to capitalize on it. So hopefully you guys are taking notes. And if you guys want to learn more from Jason, learn more from myself, learn more from Austin, you guys can catch us at the FX Summit 2023 conference. Just a heads up. But Jason, don't let me stop you. Just want to kind of put my 2 cents in.
That's lit, bro. It's like you have like built-in commercials, and that's tough, bro. Like, I feel like I'm on a podcast or a radio show.
You see how clean that transition was, though?
Super clean.
Come on. I could have made that mad awkward. I could have been like, everybody, please buy your tickets. No, but it's true. Like, we will be doing this, but on steroids at the FX Summit. So I was just more stating a fact than doing a commercial.
That was lit, bro. You're very gifted. I love you to death.
My guy.
this is just so like this is just like some imbalances where you're seeing this was a lower high that then created a lower low, and then we see price. This is just on the 1 hour. So like when you go down to the lower time frames, you're just really wanting to look for intricacies that line up with your higher time frame analysis. And that's also why we wouldn't necessarily want to be selling right this second. So that's where like when you're a higher time frame trader, you have to be a lot more patient on letting price get to that area and then not chasing if you feel like you missed a move or whatever it may be. But I mean, that's on, you know, your buys are good. Your buys are good. Because this is the other thing too, is then as we broke past those highs on this 1 hour time frame, then on this area here, you're just seeing where support is maintaining and respecting. So it looks good, Roy. On the M5, you're above all the moving averages. You're looking good. Looking good.
Ellie, as you're speaking, this thing is popping off.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Yep.
Looks clean.
So they got a question. QB Stu, do you care about JPI news at all when trading UJ, or would you recommend focusing on US dollar?
Both. I think it's good. I think the more you know about anything, the better. That's just my opinion. And the thing with yen news is it's almost always like tentative. So you don't even know really exactly when it's going to drop or what's going to happen. But that's where you can just try to mitigate your risk the best you can. There's been times I've gotten like hit with those waves randomly and just, you know, it's worked out, and times it hasn't worked out. But yeah, I would say just get to know as well. I'm still learning daily about yen news and like what has actually happened with the Bank of Japan, and then just trying to continue to pay more attention to what's going on economically and what's going on with the battles between nations and like, you know, how they're teaming up, and just kind of trying to stay as much like keep my ears to the wall as I can when it comes to that stuff. So I would always recommend yeah, Forex Factory is a lifesaver. Or would you recommend? Yeah. So just try to learn as much as you can about it. Understand. Thank you for answering.
And like news stuff aside, if you guys just look at the currencies themselves, and so it's like, well, which one should I look at, the US dollar or the Japan index? If you're trading currencies, the answer is both, right? Because either one could be moving the market at the time. So you can look up the DXY, you can look at the Japan index. If one of them is going one way, the other one's going the other way, you got a pretty clear road ahead for that trade.
And so what Nick said about, I'm excited, Nick, for you to come to the summit, because the biggest thing that I tell people about like getting in rooms like this is you just are getting close to the fire. And then you'll go home and you'll wonder, why am I so motivated? Why am I so amped up? Why do I feel like something that maybe seemed impossible a month ago now seems so doable? Because you're literally going to be elbow to elbow with people who have already changed their life in some way, shape, or form through this niche. And so when you see that and you feel that and you hear that, then you go home as a completely different person. When you get home, you're not even the person that you came as, because now you've seen too much for you to ever go back. Like you just seen too much. Your subconscious has now expanded and it can't go back to its original state. And now you just are on fire to want to go take on life. But just keep in mind too, even with that though, it's like overconfidence, because overconfidence has been it's like a double-edged sword. It's been the thing that has got me many times too.
Yo, Sai, are you in here now?
Seen the side gang was going crazy.
Yeah, bro, I was seeing the emojis going nuts.
For real? I'm not even, bro. I wasn't even paying attention.
There we go. What's going
Yo,
on?
you can hear me, right? You can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Oh yeah.
You finally made it in. What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? Y'all can hear me, right?
Yep, we good.
All right, bet.
Jason, thank you, bro. I really appreciate you. Thank you for breaking that down.
Always, bro. Anytime.
My dude. But what's going on in your world, Sai?
Not much. Business as usual. Just man, I've really just been taking time, just get my mind together and stuff. Had a lot recently happen, but you know, it is what it is. That's just life. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good, man.
Sorry to hear that. If anything that was going on wasn't, you know what I'm saying? If there was some bullshit you had to deal with. But I did want to get you on here today, talk about whatever you wanted to talk about, whether it was mindset, trading, you could share your screen. So let me know what you're feeling.
We can talk some charts. Yeah, we can talk some charts and a little bit of mindset overall, because I'm super big on patience and just being overall, yeah, patient with the market anyway. So we can talk some charts.
All right, let's do it. You can share your screen if you want.
I bet. So me personally, I trade US 30, but we're gonna do, since US 30 right now for me isn't doing too much, we're gonna talk about gold because I can explain price action. I trade higher time frame price action. I'm gonna go back for a little bit so we can explain probably like this half. It shouldn't take long. So number one, I like to trade the markets in a way of indication, a correction, and then continuation. So first, let's just start down here, right? Most people struggle with trying to find an entry or find what the market is doing in certain areas. So me personally, I like to find a support area or a resistance area. So we're going to start over here in this direction so I can explain everything here. So we have a support level here. And after price makes anything new, so if price is to make like a new high or a new low, so in this example, there's going to be a new high, price will always correct itself no matter what. I've seen it multiple times. Price, after making something new, it will correct itself. And price does this because it is one, taking out liquidity, first, the breakout buyers. So people that are buying off the breakout, and then two, taking out their late sellers that's coming in the market as well. So basically break that down as well. So right here, as we have lows in the market here, like I said, after lows are made, new lows, there will be a high for you right here. So anything above here, really want to replay this. Anything above here is an indication telling you that price wants to continue higher. So we're going to fast forward this since we already know. This is one telling me there's a bullish indication above this level. So I know that anywhere above this level, I'm going to let price correct itself because one, it has a new high. And like I said before, after price makes a new high, it will correct itself. So after this case, price will correct itself back into this level. And then anytime price comes back above here, we already know what to target. Now, why do I trade like this? It's because one, like I said, breakout traders are trading something like this. They're trading off the breakout, but they don't know how far price is going. So this indication is basically letting us know how far price wants to go up past either a support or resistance level. And it's going to be bigger and bigger over time. So just pay attention. All right. So above this level, we're going to wait for any kind of bullish movement above this level. We don't really care about this right now. And as I said, I kind of should have paused it right there. But as I said, anytime price is back above this level, we already know price is going to come to this next level. So it's going to be a rinse and repeat. There's going to be an indication, a correction, and then a continuation. Wait, y'all can't see my markings? They're saying they can't see.
I can see the arrows,
No,
but I can't see zones.
Can't see the zones. Okay, give me a sec.
Yeah, I think they're, the color.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
All right, y'all can see my zones. Okay.
Now we're good. I was wondering. All right, there we go.
All right, y'all should be able to see everything now. All right, so like I said, anywhere back above this zone, price will give us a bullish indication coming up into this zone. You don't see I barely use the wicks. I'm gonna explain why later. With this being said, price gives us an indication, a correction, and then a continuation. Price will also give us another indication, and then it'll correct itself, and then it'll be a rinse and repeat. And this is normally how I trade because price just overall tells you what it wants to do in general. Like it's not just going to do anything that it wants. It's going to tell you what it wants to do. But most people are blind to what's going on. So they never really pay attention. It's like most people, when they get into the markets, they think of, oh, I just want to make money super fast. I want to do it this way. I want to do it that way. But in most cases, it's not that way. You really have to take your time, relax. I tell a lot of people when I get on the charts, you got to be relaxed. You got to be smooth. You got to be patient. You got to chill because price will literally tell you what it wants to do before it even does it. All right, so we're going to continue. I'm gonna continue with price and we're gonna break this down even more, right? So as I said, price gives an indication that above this level, price can continue higher. So we're also gonna mark something like this. Of course you would. All right, so after this is done, price will once again make an indication, correct itself, and then continue later on. And this whole time that price is buying up, entries should have been coming from here because what? Because price above this level, we already know is going to be bullish above here. So I like to tell people as well, when price is buying, price is always going to buy to the highs. And then when price is selling, it's always going to sell to the lows, such as something like this. When it's selling, it's going to sell to the previous lows. Or something like this, it's going to pull back and sell to the lows. That's normally where price is going to normally target. So with all this being said, price is giving us another indication that price is bullish. You'll later on see some type of correction. Once price starts correcting itself, that's when you'll be looking for, I'm waiting for the correction. And boom. So now we know above this level, price can come up to this level. So if anything happens back under or even above this level, we know that price, once it becomes bullish, because we see that it's pulling back. So there's our indication, a correction. Now we'll wait for the continuation. And most of the time you can get on a smaller time frame and break it down the same exact way. So after price makes a low in the market, there will be highs. With this being said, there'll be an indication, a correction, and another high as well, giving more indications that price is bullish. So in this case, we can say that price is getting ready to go back on a bull run to test these highs previously up here. And the reason I'm saying that is one, because we have a level of support. So if anything, we'll be watching out for this level of support because we don't want to see this level of support broken. All right, so let's continue. All right, so here, after price made this new high, it did give us a full correction, and that's okay. Like I said, once price makes something new, it is going to correct itself, and we're going to be looking for all trades bullish back above high levels. So we're going to continue. All right, so once again, once price is back above these high levels, we're going to be looking for price to continue higher, back above here, and then back above here as well. And then overall, we'll go back to the higher time frame, and we'll be looking for price to push even higher up into these levels as well.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, sorry, at those levels, is there something specific you're looking at? Do you go to the smaller time frames for those confirmations when you're entering at those levels, like that buy, for example, or would you wait for a retest?
Most of the time, if price is breaking some type of level, such as these highs, this is one telling me, and then again, it's also coming in with volume as well. I forgot to mention that part as well, but we're going to have New York volume as well. And this is the only time you really want to trade gold. So if anything, all your trades, so something like this, for example, right? Let's say this day, this was a day where price was breaking the highs. This day wouldn't count because price was selling off at the beginning session. So this day you would have never been trading. But something like this on this blue day, can y'all see that blue or no? Let me just change the color a little bit. But all right, so something on this day, this is when you're supposed to be trading gold. You're supposed to be trading gold during New York session. So during New York session, as price is coming above here, with the volume that comes with these sessions, it's no need for a retest because there'll be some cases where price will continue higher than you want it to be. So in real time, you need to be on the charts during New York session when price is breaking highs or breaking lows or whatever you're looking for. So in this case, we'll be looking for price to break highs and then continue higher. And as we've seen the days progress, it did consolidate. It did made a new high, taking out as many buyers that was in the market above here. Like I said, we're not trying to trade breakout. So we're not trying to trade just anything we see that's going on. We're trying to get in areas where we know price is giving us a reaction and telling us where it wants to go overall.
Amazing. So would you consider, I know you said you were a patient trader, but would you consider yourself an intraday trader or a swing trader?
I feel like I would be more of a swing trader.
Okay. So how many trades would you say like you look to take a month?
Me personally, I honestly couldn't even tell you how many trades I take a month. Me personally, I feel like because I trade US30 a lot, and average I do like 700 points, maybe to 1,000 points on US30, and that'll probably be like a 3-day trade or a 4-day trade. So I say probably like 6 or 7 trades a month.
All right, there we go. That's a real swing trader. So I appreciate the breakdown. Is there if there was one piece of, I wouldn't say advice, but if there was one thing that you could leave traders with that you feel like could help them in their journey, what would that be?
I would say stop rushing it. I remember when I first got into like trading in general, I was 17 when somebody told me about trading. I was working at Crystals at the time, and this lady, she came through the drive-through. She had like bust down chains on and everything. And I was like, what does she do for a living? And I wanted what she had because I was working a fast food job and I wanted what she had. But at that time, I didn't know what success came with. I guess you can call that success. Most of y'all think chains and all this, cars, is success, but really it's all in the mindset, to be honest. So I went into trading thinking it was just get rich quick, get Lambos, get this and that, and I'm successful. But really when it comes to like trading, or even, it don't even have to be trading, it can be e-commerce or anything, online making money related, is you really have to understand that it's more to it than just money. It's like you got to have the right mindset before you can get the money.
All right, there we go. Focus on the mindset before you get the money. Focus on the process and the money will come. Is that it? Is that fair enough?
Yes, sir.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it. Sai, I appreciate you taking the time, bro. I know that I wish we had more time for the breakdown, but we have a few folks.
Yeah, go ahead.
I appreciate you. Guys, show some love in the chats. Again, if you guys want to catch everybody here, you guys can catch us at the FX Summit 2023 conference in Miami. And of course, this is a charity webinar. So we're going to do one quick giveaway. The next 10 people to donate. The next 10 people to donate to the GoFundMe link to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We'll be putting a raffle to get a free VIP ticket to the FX Summit to come and hang out with all of us and come talk to us for some networking events. All right. So next 10 people to donate, we'll make sure to mark those off on the GoFundMe and we'll go from there. We have two very special guests. We have Jackpot and Charlene. Charlene, how are you doing?
I am absolutely amazing. How are you?
We're doing great. We're hosting this charity webinar. Folks are on. We had a limit of 100 people on the Zoom call. And so we had everybody else kind of watching on YouTube, as I'm sure you found out.
Yes.
When I get in here. So I just saw you a few days ago. How you been since then?
I've been so motivated being around so many cool people, so much positive energy. I'm really motivated for the rest of this year. So I'm on a high. I'm still on a high.
Me and you both. We saw a $1.5 million call reveal. We'll be dropping that video this week if you guys are on our YouTube. But Charlene, did you want to go through charts? Did you want to talk to people about mindset? What do you want to share with us tonight?
I mean, you guys have been looking at charts all webinar, right?
There's never enough. So no one's going to stop you from pulling out your charts.
Well, you know what? I'd rather talk about a little bit of psychology, because the charts is kind of one thing, but everything is psychology, right? I feel like trading is 80% psychology and 20% everything else.
Oh, wait. Charlene, hold on. You're muted. We lost you.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I think we should talk about psychology because I think that's a big thing. I was doing a live stream this morning and I got a lot of people. I get a lot of questions about psychology, and unfortunately, a lot of people just either they never master it or they continue to struggle with it because they never really pinpoint the real issues that they're having with trading. And I think one of the biggest issues, which was also, I don't know about you, Roy, but one of my biggest issues to overcome was greed. I never had a job or career where I could literally like sit at home and make $100 in 15 minutes, ever. And there was a time where I was struggling to make $100 or $50 even. And now you're able to make more, and it's not enough. It's never enough, you know. So too many times we compare ourselves to other traders, to other people, and we don't really take the time to kind of humble ourselves, to take a step back and to really like appreciate the ability that we all have to actually have this skill, and to be able to take advantage of it every day. I mean, I think the possibilities are endless. Like the sky's the limit with trading, right? But we don't too many times we don't really take the time to like appreciate like the ability we have to actually print our own money every day, to make our own paychecks every day, to motivate other people every day, to show people that there's a different way. You know, you don't have to go get a second job. You don't have to, you know, go break your back somewhere. You can literally just sit at home and study this skill and put it to work for you, and it can really change your life. So I feel like too many people just don't do that. Just not enough of us do that. We kind of take it for granted because it's so easy, you know.
So are there any things that you do to kind of keep you grounded, to kind of remind you of the priorities while you're trading and to keep you from getting too greedy?
Yeah, so I often remind myself of like the hard times that I had in the beginning, to where, you know, I almost quit, and how I didn't quit. Some of the things that I like to do is I like to look around me. You know, my students that I have, I look at them, I look at my family, my friends, and the people that I see around me that are still struggling, that still go through hardships, that go through, you know, struggles every day, and how some of them don't. Some people, and it's a sad thing, but some people you could punch them in the face with a great opportunity and they still won't feel it. They won't feel it. It's just, they have that mindset where, no, I have to work a 9 to 5. I have to do this. I have to answer to somebody. I have to retire with a pension, or I have to retire on Social Security. They don't really have the mentality or the vision to really see past what's in front of them. So that's how I humble myself a lot. I look around and I'm like, man, I'm so lucky. You know, I could have been anywhere. I could have still been doing something else. I could have been anywhere. And I have this opportunity, and it's afforded me so many other opportunities where I've made so many great friends. I have so much more knowledge about different things outside of trading, outside of Forex. And it's a lot of times we have to really look around and see how many doors this one skill can open up. And if you can really appreciate that, then it's gonna ground you really quickly, really, really quickly.
Now you're in a very unique position because you are around Q and some pretty big traders. How do you keep yourself accountable to your own, like just kind of staying in your own lane, or not getting too caught up in trying to reach, you know, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So basically I use them as motivation. Like I said, coming from that reveal I was on a high. I'm still on a high, you know, just being in that room, being around so many people, so much love, so much support. And seeing like right in front of you, you know, you could touch it, you know, and it's not just the car, you know, I look at Q and he's such a big inspiration to me, because this one guy brought out so many people to unveil a car. You know, it's a material thing that's really not going to do anything for anybody in that room, but it's enough to motivate them enough to see that this is possible. I can have this too. I can do this too through this. So being around Q, being around those big time guys, and being around other people too that are big in their industries also, you don't ever want to be the big fish in a small pond. You don't want to ever be the smartest person in the room. You don't ever want to be the richest person in the room. You want to be in a room where you can grow, where you can be inspired, where you can motivate, where you can be shown, hey, this is what I can do if I do this. You know, so if you put yourself in a room where you're on the same level as everybody else, no one's doing anything different, everyone's just kind of walking the hamster wheel, where's your motivation? You know, where is the ambition? Where's the drive? You know, if you put yourself in an environment that's just mediocre, it's kind of like, now what? You know, what are you striving for? You know, you got to see what's out there, see what's possible, see what other people are doing, to give yourself that drive that you need to say, this is what I want to do. I can do this too. And it doesn't have to be material things. It doesn't have to be a supercar or a big house or jewelry or anything like that. It can just be inspiring an entire community of people. It can be just that, you know, to be able to influence the masses on one or two things and to help motivate people to have to see more for themselves. Sometimes we don't see it. We can't look in the mirror and say, oh, I have this potential. Sometimes you need somebody else to look at you and tell you that, yo, you can do it. You have it in you. You can be great as well. So sometimes it takes that one person or that one thing to make you realize, hey, this is what I have inside me. This is what I can do. Now it's up to you to go for it. So
For sure. I think that's like the biggest motivation for like the summit, for example, is if you can get around so many people that inspire you, then you can, when you go back home, just like Jason was saying earlier, you really can't go back to your normal lifestyle. You can't go back to your usual habits, because now that your imagination is stretched, you've seen it in person, you're like, this is very possible. If you can see it, if you can touch it, if you can talk to somebody who's doing it and it's a very normal person, it starts to put things back into perspective that it's possible.
Oh yeah.
So I really appreciate that, Charlene.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that you want to leave traders with? Is there anything that you feel like is important for traders to keep in mind? Something that you're seeing today that, maybe a mistake that a lot of folks are making, or maybe something that you see a few people doing right and you want to highlight?
Have more confidence in yourselves, guys. I think that too many times we kind of glorify, all the big names in the industry a little bit too much, to where you kind of like belittle your own abilities. I see that a lot in a lot of people. Not saying that we don't have the experience, myself, all the other guests on the stream, yourself, Roy. We have experience, we have the knowledge, we have, experience in this field. However, all of us are on the same journey and none of us have reached that pinnacle yet. None of us have really, hit that top mark where we're done. It's an ongoing journey. It's a destination that we're all trying to get to. We're all here to help each other. So never sell yourself short. If you're putting in the work on the charts, if you're hustling, if you're, blowing accounts and you're putting in that work, give yourself some more credit. Give yourself some more credit, because the only person that's going to do it is you. Nobody else can do it. No matter how many courses you buy, how many accounts you blow, how many FX summits you go to, how many, any of that. None of that matters if you don't put in the work. So if you're putting in the work, give yourself that credit and go for it. Go for it, and don't let anybody tell you don't deserve what it is you're going for.
Ladies and gentlemen, light up the chats for Charlene. Charlene, I really appreciate you breaking that down for us. And you said something that James also said in the New York workshop, which is, if you have an environment where you're not allowed to grow, you're not really allowed to grow, but it's not built for you to grow, you're going to consistently
the fleas. Bro,
why does it sound like you're eating the mic? Hold on, give it a little bit.
Oh, really? Is it bad?
Go.
Yeah, better.
Oh, no,
better?
we're good.
Yeah, the flea analogy is lit, bro. Like if you put fleas in a jar, they'll jump out of the jar. If you put fleas in a jar with the lid on top of it, the offspring will only be able to jump as high as that lid, their environment, right? Their limitation is their environment. So the offspring it's a great analogy for just exposure to new things. But at the end of the day, you gotta, once you get exposed, like you gotta go a level deeper, like at the end of the day, because somebody did it first, right? Everything's impossible till it gets done. So even if I haven't seen somebody do it, I'm gonna still do it. If you tell me I can't do it, I'm gonna still do it, because that's the infinite, perspective that you can have,
For sure. So what does that really look like? So are you a process person? Are you an outcome person? Do you focus on like, all right, here's the goal I want to reach? Or are you like, here's the
no outcomes for sure. Like, because at the end of the day, everyone can do the same thing and have different results. Everyone has different levels of proficiency, but I think the best thing you can do is just give your utmost effort and learn about your mistakes and review and internally analyze yourself. You have to be very self-aware of yourself. Okay, this is what I've been doing every day. Is it working? What are my results? I think the effort first, then results later, for sure.
Okay.
A lot of people aren't really giving their fullest effort. Okay, you could be driving to work, listening to podcasts. You could be, cooking your meals, there's a lot of people are not like multitasking on the highest level or always, we all have periods of wavering, work ethic and things like that. But some people are really just locked the fuck in like 24/7, and those are the people that just go to the next level,
So what does that work look like in terms of trading? Like because you're obviously not trading all the time. So what does the time outside of trading look like?
I mean, bro, like my best trading was waking up at, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., going straight to the gym and being awake for London and New York session every single day of the week. You know, like not many people are willing to do that. Like it's very exhausting to, to stay up all day and then go to sleep at that time, So for me, it's that. It's also frugality, literally saving as much money as you can and just whatever you can do. If you can save $5 every day by making your coffee at home instead of going to Starbucks, yeah, you might not have the caramel frappe, fucking whatever it is, but it's $5 that every week, $35 a week, it goes a long way,
For sure. So, I mean, everyone kind of looks at where you're at now when you're trading, and they don't realize that you also had to kind of grind your way up. So when you were grinding your way up, what kind of sacrifices were you making? Like, was it sweet? Were you just like not even thinking about this stuff? Or were you making sacrifices like you can't eat out, you can't really spend money, you have to put it in your trading account?
During the pandemic, I went to Pennsylvania, bro. I was by myself and I just went to Trader Joe's and I bought $500 worth of groceries and I just cooked every meal, worked out every day for 2-3 hours, ran 8 miles fucking every other day, and only traded. That's all I did. I literally didn't see a single person. It was me and my dog, and that was it. Like every single day for like from July until like November. And then I finally made, that's when I first made my first 100K. I ended up turning 30K to like $250,000 in a week. And then I finally like enjoyed a little bit, when it came to Miami, rented the Lambo, whatever, And then the following year, again, like each period of time where I had my biggest growths were where I just shut off all these outside distractions, people that even you have the wrong conversation, you call up your friend just to shoot the shit. Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, are you talking about ideas? Are you talking about people? Like, what are you talking about? Because that every second counts. Every day you get $86,000 to spend. How do you spend them every day?
So what kind of conversations are productive in your opinion? Like especially just not even just in general, but regarding trading. So if you're in a group with 3 or 4 traders, there's a bunch of conversations that people can have. There's like the whiny conversations. Oh, it's not going my way, whatever. There's like the leveling up conversations where it's like, kind of talking about numbers, kind of talking about, how to make improvements, talking about mindset.
Right.
What is an important conversation for you in your opinion?
Honestly, very few. I think fundamentals for sure, because that's one, like everyone can talk about technicals. It's very simple and straightforward, like bearish engulf. Oh, I see the weekly had this break or start, whatever it is. But like you and I, we have a lot of good conversation. Like you're one of the few people that I respect heavily that actually understands the fundamental game, so there's always like there's always an opposing. I like hearing other traders' opinions for sure, because it's their outlook, it kind of keeps me on my toes as well. But very few people understand that game. And I think it's really important because, I feel like you have like a more traditional kind of like approach, like and obviously I have the more like I'm fucking the world's gonna end, the markets are gonna crash, like type of shit. So, but I see both sides, but I like those conversations because they just keep my mind, keep me unbiased, keep me sharp, and just you never know. You send me a piece of data that I'm like, oh wait, that's actually really important, or like things like that, because the chart is the chart. The chart is easy for me, but the news, there's always a piece of data that you might have missed or something like that. So I like those conversations the most, to be honest with you.
For sure. And I want to say likewise, like I always like the different perspective. And if you guys aren't in James's Telegram, I highly recommend it because there's always like key pieces of news that drops and he's always one of the first to kind of get aware of it. So James, I do appreciate those conversations. I appreciate the pushback too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
when
right.
You're right, you're fucking right. And so those moments count.
Yeah, 100%.
You have a very special story. And so you've kind of been in specific situations. And I know we have some incredible traders on the call here. We got Jackpot here. We got Chris. But I want to ask you, from your perspective, having been in a lot of these unique situations, building back, making big money, losing some, what are some of the most important things mindset-wise that people should be working on developing? Like if someone's like, all right, for the next 8 months, I want to delete Instagram and focus on these next 2 or 3 things. What do you think those would be?
Definitely like tolerance to pain and risk for sure. I mean, if you want to level yourself up in a quick, period of time, it's like climbing a mountain. If you fall off that mountain, you're going to fucking break a shoulder, break a tibia, whatever it is. So it's not going to be fun. It's not easy. You're going to get fatigued. So the faster you climb, the harder it is for sure. And the more risk there is. So I think you definitely need to like everyone says, oh yeah, you have to, you know, like everyone says that it's very easy. It's cliche in a way, but really when when you fall in that frying pan, like it doesn't feel good. So you kind of have to just sit there and have a good way to a short memory, let's say, you know, like wins and losses for sure. Like when you have big wins, don't let it, you know, always find that equilibrium, right? Like when you're high up, you're too high. When you're too low, you get all those negative, the fear, the uncertainty, you doubt yourself. So never doubt yourself. Like at the end of the day, you truly have to, it's all cliche, but it's true. You know, you like the other day I fucking lost 100 grand, whatever. Like I didn't feel good for that day, but then I woke up tomorrow. I remembered like thank God I had 100 grand to lose. You know, I just counted my blessings and I kept it pushing, you know, cause the next day I'm going to make 200 grand or 300 grand. Like I'm not tripping about it, you know, for sure. So, what other things? Knowing that you don't know everything. Like if you're not continuously learning or trying to digest some type of information, like a lot of people, even, you know, you see a little bit of success. All right, I made 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand. And they stop learning. They stop digesting courses and material. And, you know, I'm never going to admit that I'm the smartest guy I'm smart. I'm at that level with everyone in the room, but I'm not above anyone, and I'm not impervious to bleeding. Like we all bleed red, you know, even the predator, like, right. The predator bleeds too. So, third thing,
like humility, kind of keeping yourself coachable and making sure that you're constantly learning, not really getting too complacent and not letting success get in the way of more success. I think that's one of the biggest pieces here.
Right, 100%. You know, you definitely it will put you in a whole different perspective, and then you start losing your discipline for sure. Like that's happened to me before when I just started going crazy bananas, $1 million out of nowhere, like, and then you kind of just forget like where you came from. So you always have to come back to that equilibrium, because that's what will keep you grounded, and that's what will keep you smart. That's what will keep you paid, and not, you know, going too deep, and, you know, you start drowning, bro. You know.
For sure. James, stick around. I kind of want you to go over charts, but I want to talk to Jack here for a little bit, get his perspective on automated trading.
What up, Jackpot? What up, D Stefano? What up, Charlene? What up,
What's going on, James? Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you, Charlene. What's up?
Yo.
There we go.
What's going on?
So what's up, Jack?
Roy, for having me, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking time and getting on. I know that you're like really deep into automated trading. So I was wondering if you can kind of break down from your perspective, pros and cons, things that you've learned along the way, and maybe anything that you can share.
Oh yeah, most definitely. First and foremost, thank you for having me on here. And I appreciate, you know, every single one of you guys that took time out of your day to tune in, to do your part. As Charlene mentioned earlier, you know, like, give yourself some credit. The fact that you guys are here and soaking all this up and preparing yourself to go to the next level, being excited for the event, all that is a big deal. You may not notice it now, but it's definitely a big deal. So thank you guys. Thank you, Roy. To answer that question.
Wait, I'm sorry, Jack. Right before you answer that question, everybody, please blow up the chats, because Charlene just donated $1,000 to St. Jude's.
I just saw that, yo.
Gentlemen,
Charlene.
Let's go. Blow up the chats, and for that, Charlene, I'm going to give away 2 free tickets to the next 10 people that donate. Charlene, I really appreciate you. Everybody, go crazy in the chats for Charlene. Sorry, Jackpot.
Let's go. That's what it's about. You get what you put out. You get what you put out.
I love it.
Love it. Motivated for sure.
Yes.
That's awesome. You guys see what's going on. And again, you know, Roy, you're the man for putting this together, because I know it's not easy to pull something like this. You know, at the first event, that was amazing, right? I went and I was just blown away. Like a lot of the traders were saying earlier, just being around that environment just give you that confidence that you too could make it happen. You too could be there where the speakers are. So again, like, there's a lot of great things happening, and we are super grateful. But you know what this all about is really just how we can all learn to profit in the market as a whole. All traders together, how can we profit as a whole? So the question was, you know, how did I get into automation trading and what got me really involved into it? First thing first, just to give you guys a quick background about myself. I'm from Haiti. I was born in Haiti, and I moved to America when I was 8 years old. I literally watched my parents, single mom, work minuscule jobs, different things just to make ends meet. And that right there was a motivation within itself. I was, it was unfortunate that, I ended up, my family ended up going to a homeless shelter for about 6 months where we lived there. But I don't really call it unfortunate because it was all a blessing in disguise, because now from where I'm at, I look back, it's just all a blessing. It just make me appreciate everything that I have in life, and just also make me understand and appreciate everyone that's in their journey as well, that's doing whatever they doing to get to where they at. You guys definitely have to give yourself props. Some of you guys are tuning in this webinar. Who knows where you are at right now, but you are making it happen. You are showing up and you are excited. So that's what it's all about. And I've seen people in my journey that's doing it. And long story short, I ended up getting into entrepreneurship. I started selling insurance for this company. And then from there, I got introduced to Forex. And then multi-level marketing companies came out. You guys know a lot of those companies. But long story short, guys, it went in where now I was introduced to Forex. I was seeing other traders, the big names that you guys know out there doing their thing. And that right there within itself was a motivation for me. So the fact that we are having the FX Summit and we're going to pack it out is the motivation that's going to drive you guys to go to that next level. It's the motivation that's going to drive you guys to take that action, take that leap of faith, put yourself through the hard work that you have to do to get to where you want to get to. So I'm definitely grateful for the greats that's ahead of me and doing their thing, the great motivation. But most importantly, when I got into trading, I already knew that it was going to be hard. When I first looked at a chart, I told myself, I would never, be able to trade in the market. I looked at my phone. It was just a default chart. And I looked at it and I just put it down. I said, I'm never going to trade. My cousin had to talk me back into it again because it looked so intimidating. Fast forward today now, where we are, growing, and we actually have our own indicators in the marketplace, TradingView MT4. MT5, it's a blessing. But I've come to really understand automation trading to trials and error, literally manual trading, understanding like, wow, trading is really hard, right? I need help, right? And this is why we invest into course. This is why we're going to show up to the FX Summit, right? Just so we could be around that environment so we could learn. So for me, what I did was I just went in and I dove in the market and I looked at what I needed to help me trade, because I love technical trading, but I trade just a little bit different than most technical traders. Technical trading is my go-to. If you guys don't mind, if you don't mind, where I could share my screen real quick and I'll show you guys a quick details of how I actually do what I do and how I got into automation trading, because it first started off with just me needing help trading. I just needed to make money for myself first. That's number one. So I started using indicators like the basic moving average, Bollinger Band, and all of that. I came across the Ichimoku cloud of that, sort of created my own little strategy. And this is one thing you guys have to do as traders. And Charlene mentioned it earlier. A lot of times we get caught up where we looking at those that's ahead of us so much, like, oh my God, I want to be like them and I want to do exactly what they do, copy their style of trading, where we forget our own values. We forget that we also have that power within us to do the exact same thing or even better. We forget that part. So we having the FX Summit, that's great, but this FX Summit this year, and I love what Roy is doing, is giving all different type of traders from different background a chance to speak, and which is going to bring a lot of newer traders, because it's going to bring the passion and the motivation into other traders to see like, hey, I could be a Q-Banks one day. I could be a Limbo Rahul one day. I could be a Jackpot. I could be a James. I could be a Charlene one day. But I have to first appreciate and then be inspired by what they do. But I also have to appreciate myself as well and give myself props to the fact that I am actually here at this event I'm actually learning to do exactly what they do so I could grow and be just like them one day. So we have to give ourselves props. Once you do that, now you're going to start thinking for yourself. Now you're going to see, okay, great, this trader have this strategy, but what can I use from his strategy that resonate with me so I could be able to trade for myself and actually profit? So long story short, I ended up coming up with the jackpot strategy. It's a simple strategy that I create. But before I even show you guys this quick strategy, and I'm not going to take too long, just going to show you briefly what I do. First of all, I go into the naked chart, go to the weekly, daily, monthly time frame. I go to the higher time frame first, just so I could see the weekly candle and the monthly candle, if it's bullish or bearish. From there, I break down the chart. I draw my trend lines, so forth and so on. Once I draw my trend line, I'm not going to put anything on the chart just so I don't take it too long. But once I do my technical analysis, I throw my indicator on, which is a simple indicator that just helps me with psychology. So it literally tells me when to sell on the H4 time frame. It gives me the line, which is the previous weekly high, of where to enter, exactly where to enter, not guessing or not where, oh, maybe not, maybe. UCAD is my favorite pair, so this is just an example. So here's where I got an entry for a sell for USD CAD on the H4 time frame. I re-entered here. I made profit here. Then I got a weekly entry here, and then I also got an entry again this morning, because it was at the weekly middle, which is true support and resistance zone in the market. There is no other true support and resistance zone in the market than previous weekly highs and lows, previous daily highs and lows, and that's technically what I use, mixed with some volume that you guys could see here in the time frame. This is how it would look on the 15-minute time frame. So this is where I would actually enter my trade. The trade actually started here. So as you guys could see, the trade is pretty accurate with the indicators I've been able to put together. Just look at it, think of it as the line is your true key zone, and this is where you should focus on finding your entries. So once I take a trade here around it, doesn't have to be exactly at the line perfectly. Around this line, that's where I'll be able to find my entry, stop loss in place, and then I'll be able to profit. Now, fast forward. I noticed that manual trading was getting a little bit too hectic. I recently had my newborn. His name is King. He's now 8 months. I noticed that trading was taking a lot of my time, where I had to really sit in front of the chart. I had to really see what's going on with my trade. Although I find perfect entries based on weekly highs, weekly lows, or weekly entry, daily entries, I still had to, in some sense, track my trade and literally be there to make sure that I'm taking profit, because I like to scalp and I like to do bigger lot size during the New York session, trading this strategy. And from there, I was able to create the jackpot strategy. So this right here is called the jackpot strategy on TradingView. It's also on MT4 and MT5. That's what I used to trade. I've just been able to recode my bot based on my strategy to basically do the job for me hands-free. And that's how I really got into automation trading. So the question was exactly how I got involved deep into it is because manual trading, I had to figure that out, which took a lot of work. And then I noticed that I had to find a way to free myself up just so I could stay away from my computer to spend a little bit more time with my family. And this is where we came up with the jackpot strategy, which is our brand new bot that we got in the marketplace right now. It's officially launching Thursday. And because of this call, we decided that we're going to give a random person in this call, one person, I believe two people, we'll do two people, give you guys a free license to the jackpot. So at the end of the call, Roy would definitely send us those winners that win the access to the jackpot for 6 months and 1 year. So that's what we bring into the table for you guys to really help you guys take your skills to the next level. Because what I've noticed with automation trading, although it's not that it's new, because most of the market is actually being traded by algorithms, but to the technical analysis traders, manual traders like myself and you guys here, we tend to shy away from automation trading because there's a lot of codes that goes in the background. You guys heard those horror stories of how automation trading is blowing people's accounts. And I understand that. But what I've learned is that when you are a trader, you are able to understand automation trading because you get to a point now where you could pre-code your own personal strategy to a robot that would basically do your job for you. So for me, I've been able to do that and it's been great. So that's how I've really gotten into trading. That's how I've gotten into automation trading. And I'm definitely excited for this event here that we're going to have in June.
My man, Jack. Appreciate you, bro. You guys can catch us FX Summit 2023. And we're going to pick 10 people, put you guys in a raffle. And then after the stream, we're going to send out an email to the winners of the 2 people who are going to get access to the jackpot. So I appreciate you, Jack.
Awesome.
Ladies and gents, blow up the chat if you guys enjoyed that segment, if you guys learned something. We got Chris DiStefano in the house. This is called Chart Addicts. And so I am looking for somebody to pull out their charts and start looking at some markets. Plus, I'm in this UJ trade if anyone wants to check this out. So we have Chris DiStefano. We have Tori Trades. Tori, welcome to the call. And so we'll do those 2. And then James, if you want to hop on, show some charts after, let's make it happen. So what's up, Chris?
What's up, guys? What's going on? For those of you who don't know, my name is Chris DiStefano, Mr. DiStefano on Instagram. Primarily, I trade GJ, but I have been known to trade US 30. I learned from Q Banks. So that's been my primary mentor. I've had probably, a few mentors before that, but the person that I learned the most from was Q Banks and Anthony Williams. I learned the most from those guys. So give it up to them for sure. But after trading US 30, I kind of backed on to GJ. I guess I like to get beat up a lot because GJ is very temperamental and just is kind of all over the place. So I guess I'm one of those people that just like domestic violence when it comes to getting beat up on the charts. But it's all good. As long as we're worried about that risk to reward, we are good. So just to let you guys know a little bit of my backstory. I've been trading since 2017. I did not become profitable right away. I think like James said, you got to really tap in to this 100%. And I just wasn't. I wasn't really tapped in. I kind of treated trading like a game, almost like, oh, well, I got something else that I do for work. So I'm just going to kind of play with that on the side and just throw $100 in, see if I'm making any money. Oh, I did. And I just felt mad confident. I made $100. Let me throw in 1,000 and see what I can do. So I was just basically throwing Hail Marys forever. And, if you don't know, I owned a security company. So we did like bodyguarding events and things like that. So when I got into trading, I already had money. So everybody's journey is different. A lot of you guys out there are, starting off with a 9-to-5 and you're trying to like break out of the 9-to-5, with trading. And sometimes it's not necessarily like that. So I don't want to give people the interpretation that I didn't have money when I got started. But, I do understand homelessness and starting from the bottom and things like that. So that's how I built my first $1 million business, was being homeless and just being relentless in my work ethic. Kind of like James said, you can't like be like, oh, well, I don't have this, so I can't do this. Just because you don't have a nice car, you don't have nice clothes, you don't have a comfy bed to sleep in, you don't have air conditioning, whatever the case may be, that shouldn't stop you from doing what you're trying to do. So in starting that business, I was homeless, sleeping in the back of a Chevy Tahoe. I have a daughter. She was living with my mom at the time, and I didn't see her for 8 months straight because I knew I could do better than a 9-to-5. So literally I got fired from this 9-to-5, and I decided, you know what, since I got fired, I got a little bit of money. Let me figure it out and make something happen. And I built a business. It took 8 months, but 1 year into that business, I had a contract with the NFL to do the Super Bowl for my security company. So I did the Super Bowl 2017 and 2018. We had an offering for 2019 when it was down here in Miami. So we did a joint task force with another agency down here. So I did 3 Super Bowls with this company that I built literally out of a Chevy Tahoe. So that just goes to show you that you can literally do anything you want to do. And after, I built some success with my security agency, I decided to, hey, take all this money, play around in the market, treat it like a casino. Made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, went back and forth with that game until COVID came and forced me to choose. So as you guys know, the world was shut down throughout that time, and there was literally no events. There were no concerts or anything. And I put all of my eggs in that basket for my security company. So that's when I had to make the choice of taking trading more seriously and not bouncing all over the place. Like, oh, hey, I'm just going to wing it and see what happens. I'm going to throw 30,000 in and then make 50,000 and then lose all of it. That's kind of what I was doing. So, 2019 came around and I had no choice but to sit in the house and make it happen. No choice. So there wasn't any going out. There was no nightclubs. There was nothing. My security company failed completely. And I'm sitting here paying people, doing all this other stuff. And I just decided, you know what? I'm losing money to the point where I was still paying people because I felt bad that I created a security company and didn't put my eggs in multiple baskets to give them an outlet. So I feel like I failed all 247 of my employees because now they had no work. So I felt guilty. So I took all of my money that I had and continued to pay them until I had nothing left, literally nothing. And then I was going through a divorce, all kinds of crazy shit, lost the security company. But now I'm sitting here like, damn, well, I know I made money at something and I was trading. So let me go back to it and actually take these courses seriously that I had purchased. And I had no choice. So I did that. And I took care of my daughter full time because her mom, dipped out or whatever. But so I'm taking care of my daughter full time while trying to execute these trades and learn and, take Wall Street Academy, just take it seriously. And I had absolutely no choice but to do that because it's either you trade and you start winning, or you're going to be back homeless where you came from in that Chevy Tahoe. And you're going to be at a point where you can't see your daughter again. Do you want to go back there? That wasn't an option. That was not an option. So it was like, damn, you got to get your shit together because your daughter's sitting right over here looking at you like, so what you going to do next? Because I remember the last time you left me at grandma's house all that time. I remember when you missed my first birthday. I remember when you didn't walk, my first steps. Like I missed all those things to build that company, lost it all. And I felt depressed. Like, damn, I did it all and lost everything. Am I going to put all my eggs in this basket too, like I did last time and fail? Nah, this time I had her right here looking at me in my face. Like, yo, are we going out to the park? What can we do? Yo, we going to order a movie on Netflix? Are we going to, well, damn, how am I going to tell her I can't afford it? I'm already living up on the 42nd floor. So she already knows we got something. So what am I going to tell her? Oh no, daddy ain't got money, but we live up here. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So it was a bunch of trial error in a very short amount of time because there was no option to fail. And the biggest takeaway that I learned was you need to have some patience. Patience is what paid me big time, because you could say in that situation, I had the rush to success. I had the rush to the charts and rush to get paid, rush to get into these trades so I can make some money. But it was exactly the opposite. And I have a military background. So I was told by my DIs, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So I had to remember that. And I took my time with understanding the mechanics of what was going on behind the movements of price action. What does it really mean, time frame correlation? What does it really mean to understand what's going on every single time frame? I wanted to know the mechanics more so than I wanted to learn the money aspect of it, because I already had money. I wasn't chasing the dollar bill saying I want to be a trader to make money. It was I already had money, but I need to replace the money that I was making before with something that I can do now with my kid, because I can't be traveling on an airplane, going to do advances for Super Bowls and nightclubs and artists and shit. And I'm being on an airplane traveling around with artists and I'm not with my kid. Regardless of me making money, is that the life that I want for her to remember dad wasn't never home? We had a nice house, but he wasn't home. Trading gave me that outlet to be able to make the same amount of money, if not more, but I can do it from anywhere. And that's why I pride myself on spending as much time as I can with my daughter. So for all of you guys that have, and ladies out there that have children, that have kids, there is no excuse. There's only the excuses that you make for yourself. You know what I mean? Take it from me. I'm a single dad. Mom's not in the picture. My family disowned me because I told them I'm going to be $1 million day trader. And they said, that's a scam. My mom said, you're going to end up killing yourself and throwing yourself off a building because all these traders, they lose all their money, they go bankrupt and they kill themselves. So that's going to be you. And if you're going to do that, then you don't care about your daughter. Stop that gambling. And I said, okay, Mom.
Thank you for being a good dad.
Appreciate that. But I'm sitting there like, all right, Mom. Well, if you don't believe me, watch. And I told her, watch and see. We're at Thanksgiving dinner. And I said, watch me. I will come back here 1 year from now and I will make $1 million. Well, won't you know, a year later, I did that and my family was jealous. They were haters. Since then, my mom hasn't talked to me, my family hasn't talked to me, and I guess it's because I told them so. And it kind of sucks to reach a level of success only to go back home and now they don't really fuck with you because it's like, oh, well, I still got a 9 to 5. Well, I still have this degree that I'm paying off. And it's just like, dude, I'm trying to help you out, Ma. I did this for the family. And it sucks, guys. So just worry about the reasons why you're getting into this and understand that there may be people, including family members, that don't rock with you because now you reached a level of success that they don't have the balls to get themselves. It's tough out there.
Chris, I really love the story and I really appreciate the honesty and the transparency, kind of going through those ups and downs. But I did want to ask you about, like, when you were going through those pressures, can you talk to me about the differences of having an income stream in trading and then having to go full time? Because I found that when I went full time, it wasn't what I expected. The pressure was a little bit heavier than I expected. And honestly, you start to make decisions based off of, let's say you need to pay some bills. You might close a trade early because you need the money as opposed to letting it run, whatever it might be. Can you talk about those two different scenarios, having an income source and not having one?
That's a great question, man, because I didn't close my security company right away. I had 1 or 2 contracts that kept coming up and things like that. So my last contract that I actually maintained until I was comfortable enough, I had a couple of strip clubs and they were low key open down here in Miami, Florida, while the, COVID and everything was still going on. So I was still bringing home at that time, roughly $15,000 a month. And I'm like, okay, I need to double or triple that by the time I'm like shutting this whole company down for good. So when that kind of started to happen, when I was making that amount of money, I was actually making that amount of money in a single trade. So then you're right. Sometimes I would just close out the trade because I was nervous because it was actually doing well. And I figured, let me just cut my losses or cut my win short now. Like I need that money because now I can just pay my rent today. I can pay my car today. So then I got in the habit of getting out of the market what I felt like I needed at the time because I didn't feel like I was confident enough to stay in the trade. So I would just be like, oh, well, I already paid my rent. I need $4,000 left for the month. So let me hop in a trade. Oh, it's up 3,800. Close out because I don't want it to come back and, it just be a retracement. I don't want to take that risk. So I found myself cutting myself short a lot just because I was in fear of never seeing that amount on my phone or on MT4 on my desktop again. So, I made lower amounts, but I always made sure that I could close out, like you said, with the electric bill, the this, the that, whatever the case may be. And it's just that I think that's a part of psychology in itself when it comes to trading is you got to sometimes just have the balls to let it rock and roll rather than just saying, hey, I made just enough. You know what I mean? Sure. Not that you can be greedy about it, like, hey, I want more. But that's why most of you traders out there, you're moving your stops into profit at certain key levels and things like that. Is just because you want to have a nice little bottom to kind of protect you, but you want to let the trade rock and roll if it has the strength to do that. So I didn't understand that at the time. I just understood, well, you made enough for your bills, just like you get a paycheck and you allot that money to your bills. Like, all right, I made $3,000 this week. What can I spend it on my bills?
For sure. Now I have one last question for you. There's a lot of people that are watching this that are parents, and they might be struggling to kind of balance the responsibility of both, whether it's time-wise between work, trading, and taking care of the kids, or just giving them enough attention. Is there anything that, and Andy, you can speak on this in a little bit, but is there anything that has worked for you in terms of creating that balance or creating the time? Do you have a set time that you trade, for example?
So there actually is, and there isn't at the same time. So for all the parents, I want to let you know that since I'm doing everything 100% by myself and I have trust issues, so I don't really have babysitters and things like that. I trade London session primarily. And then, so like, here's my schedule day to day. I put my daughter to sleep at 7:30. I make dinner, all that stuff, get her ready for bed, put her down at 7:30. I am usually in bed by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. I wake up at midnight. To analyze the charts, to make content, do whatever I got to do. And then I'm getting ready for a London session. Let's say I get into a trade, I'm managing the trade, probably with my Signal Lounge and stuff like that. And then I'll either let the trade rock and roll. And let's say it's 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll take a nap while my trade is going. I'll wake up at 7 o'clock. So just a power nap, basically an hour. And I'll wake up at 7 a.m., get my daughter ready for school to have her to school by 8 a.m. Then I'll come back, continue to manage the trade if necessary, close out. I'll go back to sleep. and then I will wake up at 1 o'clock so that way I can pick her up at 3. So that's my schedule right there. And in between time, I'm cooking breakfast, I'm doing her hair, like I'm doing laundry, like literally everything that needs to happen at a house. I'm doing that throughout the day incrementally when I'm up in between naps. So I try to sleep as much as I can, but if I want to be focused on the charts, I have to trade London or else it kind of won't work because I have still errands to run throughout the day. You got to, something like the bank is only open in the daytime. So if you got to like handle business, you can only, so that's why I have a broken schedule like that. It was really rough to get used to that at first, but like James said, you got to do what you got to do. And if you want this life, you got to really like figure it out and make a schedule for yourself and be disciplined enough to stick to it no matter what. I don't care if there's a game on. I don't care if who's playing who, you know what I mean? Boys night. Nah, I got to get cut. You know, like I got to do what I got to do. My schedule's my schedule, homie.
There we go. So you got to do whatever it takes, especially if you have something as important as, you know, a kid that you're taking care of. So I really like that. Thanks a ton. Ladies and gentlemen, blow up the chats. We got Andy Peters in the building. We got Tori Trades in the building. Andy looks like he's enjoying date
What's
night in
up,
the Ferrari
guys?
with the missus.
Well, actually, this is not my missus. This is
Oh.
one of my missus' really good girlfriends. So we switched. I gave my friend my wife, and he gave me his for the night for us just to cruise in. So,
All right. Well, enjoy date
Well-
night. Appreciate you stopping by, Andy.
will do, man. I appreciate everything y'all are doing here. Everybody having a good night.
So far, so good. Crushing it. Everybody here is sharing a ton of gems. I really hope folks at home better be taking notes because I'm over here. I got probably 3 pages of notes so far. So
What you got any
Pretty-
question for me while I'm on here?
yeah, Andy, give us your top 2 tips for being a parent and being a trader, because I know that you've spent the majority of your children's kind of like growing up with them, and you've been able to kind of have that luxury. So what would you tell folks that want to aspire to do that too, be in their kids' lives?
So if you're first starting out trading, I mean, obviously it's going to take a ton of your time. So trade sessions, you know, that your kids are asleep or your wife's asleep. And that way it's not taking time away from your family. And then once you make it to the point that you're a good trader, I mean, technically you're retired at that point. So you've got all day to do whatever you want to do with your kids then. And I think that's where, you know, the misconception of, well, not the misconception, but the people who just want more and keep chasing, at some point you ask yourself, you know, how much more do I need? It's like me, you know, I work, you know, with the technology companies during the week a little bit, helping them out. And I trade here and there. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm okay with the life I have. You know, I'm able to be retired, essentially hang out with the kids, have a life, travel, do whatever we want to do. So for me, I'm happy with that. You know, do I ever want to become a billionaire? Absolutely not. I don't want to become a billionaire. It's too much work. So I think a lot of traders get in that mindset. They want more and they want more, and it keeps pulling them away from their family because they're wanting more. And it's like, enjoy the time you've got with your kids now, because when your kids grow up, they become teenagers, they move out of the house. At that point, now you can do whatever you want to do. If that made sense.
Oh, there we go. I was muted for a sec.
There we go.
But how much has trading been able to help you? Because I know that you came from a corporate job and you kind of been able to see both. Can you talk a little bit about the differences between having a full-time job and trying to be in your kid's life, and what trading's been able to help you do?
Yeah, I mean, having a full-time job, I mean, sucked. It wasn't just a full-time job. It was a full-time job and then side jobs, brick and mortar businesses. I mean, I really stressed myself out to 18, 19-hour days of constantly just grinding it out. And I missed 4 years of my kid's life. And at that point, that's when I said, you know what, it's not worth it. I already have enough money to last me until I'm about 92, 93 years old. And that was at that point in time. That was before I even started trading Forex. I mean, that was when I was just trading crypto and everything else. So, you know, once I started trading the Forex side of things, it was like, wow, now I'm making money that is adding 3 to 4 years every 2 to 3 months of trading. It started stacking up massively. So then again, it's like, now why am I working a corporate job? I've got money stashed. I'm trading. I can make really good money doing this. I'm just going to spend time with the family. And here we are. And, you know, the message I want everyone to really get across and understand is you've got to have, we talk about the most, and I'll ask you this, Roy, what's the most important thing about trading? Your entry or your exit?
I'd say both, but exit is something that's underappreciated.
Exactly. So to me, I think you've got to have that in life. You've got to have an exit. You've got to know somewhere when is enough is enough. When am I going to fully commit to living, to being with my wife, to being with my kids, to traveling, to stop worrying about how much money I have in my bank account, you know? And I think when you get to that point, that's when it really starts making sense for you. You know, it's like me right now. You know, I'm turn my little camera around here. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. You know, I got the little 488. It's my baby, and it's got pure turbos on it and the tune, all kinds of stuff. It's actually making more than supposedly a Pista with exhaust on it, but it's still not a Pista. But hey, I'll take this. But could I say, man, I don't like this car. This is a piece of shit. This technically needs to be a Bugatti, or this needs to be a Pagani. Then yes, but guess what I would have to do? I would have to spend more of my kids' money. I'm building my future for my kid. Oh crap, there's no video here. There we go. Now we got it.
There we go.
There we go. Now we can see it. So are y'all seeing me or the car?
Now I'm seeing you.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me flip this thing around. Where's my little camera button? Ooh, there we go.
You're dating yourself, Andy.
But no, I can't. On your screen, I just see your screen. I don't see my video. But anyhow, where I'm getting with this, sorry, everyone's yelling at me over here. Where I'm getting at this is as I start buying more things, I'm spending my kids' future money. You know, I want to build generational wealth for my kids. I want to build, yeah, Roy, it's on screen share, bro.
No, I can see you. We can see you now.
Oh, can they see me now? There we go. Hold on a second, I'm on a Zoom. Chill. Can you see me now, Roy?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, sweet. Just want to make sure we were doing the right thing here. But yeah, I mean, think about generational wealth. And, you know, yes, if you've got $1 billion, you can do a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of traders in this industry that have a shit ton of money. And they're probably in much better spaces than I am. But I guess being old school for me, I always think about the what ifs. You know, like, yes, I've got a ton of crypto. But what if something were to happen to crypto? What if it were to become regulated? What if I couldn't get my money out? Now I'm left with what's sitting in a bank account and then what I have in investments. Okay, but what happens if one of those investments goes under? Then I have what's over here. So, you know, when we have all of our eggs in one basket, we're not, you know, diversified, then start thinking about those things. And that's something that I personally, you know, have thought about and really had, I guess, a coming to Andy talk over the last, I'd say probably 6 months. Everything kind of changed in my life is as far as my outlook on it.
I love it. Great advice. Very underrated advice, because a lot of folks want the flashiness, and obviously you're saying this while you're flashing the Ferrari. So I don't know. You guys can do what you want with that info, but I do appreciate you breaking it down. And it's 100% right. Like whatever your priorities are, whatever you're spending on today is either feeding your priorities or taking away from your priorities.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important.
Most definitely. And I mean, you know, like I said, you know me, I'm a car guy at heart. I love cars. But I mean, for those that don't know, I don't purchase my cars. So I'm part of an exotic lease program where I pay anywhere from last year I paid $250,000. This year I'll pay around $300,000 and some change. And that gives me a supercar for the whole entire year. And I can swap them out whenever I want to. And it's 100% tax write-off.
Sheesh.
So, you know,
I need to have a conversation with my accountant. My accountant never told me about this.
Yeah, well, think about car rentals is a write-off for your business. So if you are, and there's a few of them across the U.S. where you actually sign up for a yearly program from them, and that way you get to drive whatever you want. So like, you know, for the next month and a half, I'll have the 488, and then next month or month after that, I'll have the 765, and I just swap out my cars. And that way it's a tax write-off for me for my business. So you got to think, as you're making money trading Forex and you're putting that money in your bank account, you need write-offs. And unless you're traveling, like you've got write-off, you're traveling, you're hosting events, you're doing things. But most traders are sitting in their living room, you know, or their kitchen table. Oh, there's no insurance on it. The insurance is included. That's what I'm saying. There's no service. There's no service on the car. You don't have to worry about tires. You don't have to worry about insurance, nothing. That's all included. It's the one-stop shop. But I do want to talk about one thing while I'm on here, Roy.
I just want to break this down for the folks. We got supercar hacks. We got my accountant's getting fired. And what was the last thing you said?
So this one's going to be fun. So because this is something I want to talk about, because I had a few questions about it. Talking about making money in Forex and how you need write-offs and all this stuff. Remember, guys, if you all are trading on regulation, that gets audited. Your numbers and how much you make gets turned in for audits, for taxes. So keep that in mind, because I've seen a lot of people screaming, regulation, it's safe, it's safe, it's safe. Just remember, if you're trading on a regulated broker, doesn't matter if it's Forex, doesn't matter if it's stocks, crypto, whatever it is, every button you push, every trade you take is a taxable event. And then when audits come through at the end of the year and they turn all that information over, hopefully it matches your taxes. Because if it doesn't, there comes your audit. Just a little tidbit, because you mentioned accountant and all that stuff, so it made me think
I
about
appreciate the tidbit. Ladies and gentlemen, please consult a licensed tax professional. This is not tax advice. Andy Peters. Guys, blow up the chat for Andy. I do want to give a quick shout out before we bring Tori on for all the folks that have donated since we've been on. Everyone who's donated, we have, I think, like 57 donations. A little dyslexia there. But I just want to give a shout out to the folks that donated. Anthony, thank you. Janice, thank you. $100. Thank you. Marco, Josh, Darren McCready, I see you. Amin, Deshaun, Isaiah, Desi, Lashandra, Cindy, Edward. Shout out to all of you guys. Nikita, Fido, Ray. We're getting all of you guys' names down. Folks will be put into a raffle so that we can give you guys free summit tickets and all the other prizes that we promised. And just a heads up, UJ is in profit from that trade earlier. Just throwing that out there. Jason, the retracement is in full effect. I'm just throwing that out there.
How much are y'all trying to raise on this one, Roy? Or do you have a number?
We just put up a random goal, 15 grand.
Oh, nice.
Can you guys put up a link to that? I don't see a link.
Yeah, the link is in the chat. It's also in the YouTube, but I'll put the link in the chat again. Here we go.
Well, as soon as I leave the date not with the missus, I'll be sure to go home, click that link, donate, and I'll send it out to my community as well.
Man, I appreciate you. Andy, you're going to be at the FX Summit this year. Can folks come and meet you there?
So, man, here is my dilemma. As you know, I love the FX Summit. I love shaking hands and meeting people. But it's going to fall on my daughter's first horse show that she's going to have. So we may be having to catch a flight. And this goes back to the family stuff. I pick my family over everything. I've lost on 7 deals because of the family. And I continue doing that the rest of my life. So if we can just rock and things go good, we'll be able to catch a flight and be down there. If it doesn't, then obviously I will have to conference someone's phone just pay somehow. So
I got the most of that because you're chopping out a little bit, but we'll put on a horse show at the summit and we'll just host it there. We'll bring the horses, we'll bring the hay, whatever it takes. Andy, I appreciate you stopping by. Ladies and gentlemen, Tori, welcome to the stream.
Hi.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Thinking about the value I'm gonna give tonight, and I think I want my theme to be social media, since that's my thing. Obviously, I got a badass setup, as I should, because I'm pretty good at social media. So I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the best trades that I had, which was just recently. Super exciting. And then also wanted to talk about some things that I learned from it. And I know you guys will absolutely learn from this, and if not, have already gone through it yourselves. So I had my first $10,000 trade. May not sound like a lot, but I am so stoked.
Congrats.
So it was in one trade. But here's the thing. When I was in that trade, I wasn't, I didn't have tunnel vision. I feel like I wasn't to myself, which is, trading is a very lonely thing. And rightfully so, because here's this. So I'm up in this trade and I want to talk about it. I'm showing, my mom, my sisters, I'm like, hey, look, I'm up $10,000. This is so cool. This will be, and I'm talking about how this will be like my record trade. This will be one of my best trades that I've had. And the first thing that I get from them is, you need to close that.
Yeah, what's up, Ever?
Hi. They told me that I needed to close it right now.
Oh, yes.
Is anybody
Sorry
talking?
about that. I don't know who that is. That guy's
So what a bummer. That got into my head and it made me think I do need to close this trade. And I didn't, according to the strategy, there was absolutely no reason to close that. I had if you guys don't know already, I use a trend line trading strategy with support and resistance, super elementary, but hey, it works for me. but no lines were crossed. It wasn't at an area of support or resistance. Like, why did I close it? And then I go back and obviously you're like, wow, it would have doubled. But so just maybe keep into yourself. People, family, friends, and a lot of guys spoke about this in the chat before. It's better to just do it yourself. Don't involve anyone else because they're going to sway your opinion. They're going to give you a bias. They're going to psych you out. So if I had just stayed in my lane and been like, okay, you know what? I'm up $10,000. I'm going to keep this to myself. This is my trade. This is my strategy. Everything's working. I just can put it down now. Instead, there's a little bit of a Leo. I'm a Leo. So I just wanted to be like, look what I got. And it wasn't the best idea. And then some other things I wanted to talk about was utilizing social media for your trading. I think it is a great idea. All of these speakers that we've had tonight, I only got to hear a few, but most of them I already know. I've seen their social media. I love to use them for fuel to my fire, for motivation. There was a point where I've been trading. If you guys don't, if you don't follow me on social media, I've been trading for 8 freaking years, a long freaking time. So in that entire time, I found myself just very comfortable. I was paying bills, and we talked a little bit about this before too. I was paying bills. I was making enough just to pay bills. And I didn't have like this, the sky is the limit mentality. I was so comfortable, wasn't very disciplined. And coming into the community, I now see people that are younger than me, that have been in it for a lot less than I have, that are making stupid amounts of money. That is like such a great fuel. Now, I feel like I wouldn't have even been able to hold that trade, that one $10,000 trade in the past, where I was just so comfortable. I'm like, okay, this is going to be car payment. This is going to be rent. Instead, I have like this fascination with all of these other traders on social media that make so much money. And regardless of, I know everyone's so like, I'm not sure, vocabulary words are not hitting me tonight, but everyone's like, okay, they're a scam. They don't really trade. They're demo. They're not actually making their money from trading. Who cares? Like, use it as fuel, use it as motivation, because it just helped me incredibly. But then here's the flip side to it. If you're not using these accounts for fuel and, psychology maybe, and learning experiences and motivation, there's the toxic side of trading. And so I had just made the transition from day trading to swing trading. Dear Lord, it was a hard process. It's tricky. Oh my God. I've been day trading for most of my entire trading career. So to make that transition was incredibly tricky. And when I talked about it publicly, you can only imagine how many people were like, why are you doing that? Absolutely not. That is such a bad idea. Don't do it. Okay, well, I did it anyways. But if you were to listen to that and let it get to you, I could see how that would completely cripple like your ability to move forward, or try different strategies, or try different techniques, or maybe a different trading style. So not listening to the toxicity on social media is huge. And so within that transition from going from day trading to swing trading, I made it public. I was like, this is what I'm doing. Here's the plan. Take it or leave it. This is what I'm doing. I'm just sharing my experience. And then there was January. It was my first full month of actually making the transition. And I lost $6,000, like the entire month. So I didn't even come out green. Like, what a bummer. And there were so many people on social media that were like, told you so, shouldn't have done it. That was your fault. And like, imagine if I had just let social media get to me and then just been like, you know what, I'm defeated. I give up. We're going back to the old ways. And instead, no, I was like, okay, if anybody has this tenacity of trading and consistency, and there's a word with a P and it's just not there. Persistency. That's not a word. But if there is anybody that has it, it's me. I've been doing this for 8 years. Like, I'm not going to let social media tell me that I'm not going to succeed if I make the transition from day trading to swing trading. So I think, and then after January, February, I finally got a handle on things. March, boom, I got it. I am so ready, so stoked. I feel so comfortable in my swing trading. I've had a trade in platinum for 2 weeks. I had a trade in oil for a week. All of my trades now are like swing trades. They're bigger profits. Obviously it comes with, bigger risk, bigger stop losses, but wow, I finally got a handle of it. And if I had just let social media actually, tear me down or actually take it personally, I wouldn't have, made this transition. So I think the two things to take away from this, I know this was probably a super quick little intro, but is one, stay in your lane. Like, I know it's fun to like brag and talk about your wins, but it's going to give you a bias. And the people, if they don't know about trading, they're going to like just plant the seed in your head, or like this little bug in your head that's going to make you think, maybe I should close this, or maybe this loss isn't, I don't feel right about it. When if you just stay in your lane and you know what you know, you won't have to involve any other voices, nobody on your shoulder telling you to get out. And then the second thing is the social media aspect. Use these people and these traders and these influencers for fuel and motivation to help you keep going and to give you, higher ceilings, and try to remove yourself from the toxicity of the people that are trying to tear you down. So there's a lot of things that you can grab from here, but those are the things that I've experienced the most this past few months and just really in my trading career. So that's all I got, friends.
All right, that was awesome. And I really like the experience approach, because a lot of folks have only been in the game for probably 2 or 3 years.
Right.
So since you've had enough time to really kind of go through your strategy, figure out, like most of us as we're developing, we tend to take every shortcut at least once to try to see if we can move forward, and we get burned and we realize that's not the way. Were there any of those that you went through in your journey where you were like, all right, here's like the biggest takeaways, I'm not doing those, or I am sticking to this?
So I think I was lucky enough to have a mentor. So my uncle taught me how to trade. I had a family member teach me, and I was able to see very tangible physical results. I mean, I even got to see accounts and bank accounts and statements and trades. So I was able to physically see the success that he had with the strategy that he taught me. So I had a lot of tunnel vision. I didn't have too many other things coming in, wanting to try this strategy or wanting to try this one. Since I had a mentor, and maybe that will help with you guys if you've got a mentor, if you're looking for one. I always suggest, trying to find a course, a mentor, a community. If you want to take the route of, YouTube University, it's just a black hole though, and you're just gonna be stuck in there. It's just, there's so many ways you can, try to educate yourself in YouTube, but I feel like shortcutting the process absolutely for me was having a mentor. So I was able to see the physical results. So I didn't even have the temptation to kind of sway and try other strategies, try other indicators. I knew that what my end goal looked like if I stayed consistent with the strategy that he taught me.
Incredible. So would you say that consistency is one of the most important things? It's just sort of learning something and just really allowing you to figure out all the small nuances of the strategy?
Oh my God. I know my strategy like no other. I mean, imagine how, first of all, how weird that I have traded trend lines and support and resistance for 8 years. Oh my God. That's like stupid. So imagine if you had put that many years into your strategy. You know every single aspect of it. You know exactly when to enter, exactly when to exit. There should be no confusion. You should know it like the back of your hand. So I think having that confidence, and I think the biggest thing is confidence. It gives you so much confidence in your trading. If you stick with a strategy for long enough, you're going to make it profitable. Whether it's not a profitable strategy, if you are in it long enough, you will know exactly what you need to tweak, what you need to change, what fits your personality, what fits your style, to make that profitable. So I think having the consistency and sticking with it long enough absolutely will lead to profitability.
I think that's awesome. I want to give a quick shout out. I want to give a quick shout out to Chris for putting the $1,000 donation. We see you. I appreciate you. And I really just want to commend you for doing that. St. Jude's Children's Hospital will definitely thank you too. Now, Tori, are you in front of your computer by chance? And do you want to share a little bit about the trend line strategy? Because I know a lot of folks have tried to trade trend lines and maybe they're overcomplicating it or maybe they're undercomplicating it. I was wondering if you can give us some tips and tricks about trend line trading.
Let's do it. We're going to do, oh, wait. Got to open my trading view. Okay.
Mark says, Chris gave me $5 one time and I still have it. That's what I'm talking about.
Frame it. Get it signed.
For sure.
Can
That's
you
that
guys
lucky
see
dollar.
my screen?
Yep, we're good to go.
Okay. So this is crude oil. This is one of my favorite things to trade. I know I kind of got Roy onto crude oil a little bit. This is my absolute favorite thing to trade. So I'm not a Forex trader, but I am a futures trader, but this strategy applies across the board. So for the first 5 years of my career, I traded stocks. So same strategy, just applied to different markets. And then I eventually moved. I did do Forex for a little while. But then I did Forex for like maybe 3 to 6 months and then immediately moved to futures, and futures has been like it's been it for me. The volatility I love, the contract size, the ability to trade micro contracts, mini contracts. I'm into all of it. So essentially this is what my charts look like. Very simple. We've got, upward green trend lines, downward red trend lines, and then we've got some yellow horizontal lines, which act as support and resistance here. And essentially I get into trades when, for the most part, I get into trades when price breaks out of a trend line, but there's always the opportunity to trade the bounce of trend lines, the retest of trend lines. So it's so intricate, even though it's so elementary and simple, there's still so many ways to trade, a trend line strategy. So I, for the most part, will get in at the break. Roy and I were discussing this trade not too long ago. This would have been my entry here for oil, but I've been in a platinum trade. Since I'm working on the transition from day to swing, I'm trying to work on just one position at a time. So I didn't get this one, but this is how I trade. So I have alerts on all of my trend lines. So I don't even have to trade a specific session. I know some people maybe frown upon that. My lifestyle, I can and do have the ability to get into a trade at any point in the day. So if my alert goes off, I can just stop what I'm doing and trade. But if if I'm doing something else and I don't have the capacity to get into a trade, I'll understand that I see the trade, but I'm not taking it. So I put trend lines on every single one of I put alerts on every single one of my trend lines. So boom, boom, boom. So we have an alert here on this downward trend line. As soon as oil crossed it, that would have been my indication to get in. Now, I also am trading on a 4-hour time frame, so I know that's a lot higher than most, but essentially this would have been trade here. Enter, exit on this area of resistance here. Whereas, it acted as resistance here, it acted as support over here, and in the past, I believe, support. So it's just touching it from the other side. But essentially, I get in at the break and I'm looking for areas of support and resistance for my take profits. That's about as simple as it gets, guys.
I love it. In terms of risk and reward, how do you think about that?
So mine might be a little bit of a more holistic approach. So my risk will be dependent on where the price is in conjunction to where the trend lines are. So let's say that I get into a trade right here. My risk for this is going to be high because it is so far away from my upward trend line. So as long as the price stays up and follows along this upward trend line, I'm safe. Stop losses go on the other side of my trend lines and they do trail. So they trail along this trend line or vice versa. Let's say that the price of oil fell and broke this upward green trend line. My stop loss would go on the other side of my red downward trend line. So it's ever changing as far as risk. So each time the price crosses one of these trend lines, I am aware that either the price is very far away from the opposing trend line that I'm knowing, okay, this is a high risk trade. Whereas let's say the price of oil would have came down here and then cross. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but let's say that the price of oil came down to like 68, 66 and then cross this line. This would be a very low risk trade because it's so close to this upward trend line. Whereas it crossed up here, it's a higher risk. I don't know if this sounds at all remotely making sense to you guys, but this is my weird, strange strategy that I have developed in these 8 years.
No, I like it because it's mostly just based on structure. So it's not really based on anything else besides what is right in front of you on the charts. And I think that just kind of shows like the level of experience. So pretty cool. Anything else that you found in terms of like struggles that you encountered when you were starting to trade trend lines? Like, did you used to oversimplify it and maybe enter prematurely, or what were some things you learned?
Absolutely. So first thing is I would go in so close. That was one of my biggest flaws. I would go into like this looks ridiculous, but I would start going into like 1 minute, drawing 100 trend lines on the screen. Hold on, let me just hit this. I draw this downward trend line, this upward trend line, this downward, this upward. And then I realized, okay, I got to take a step back. Like I'm getting crazy. When I start throwing too many trend lines on the screen, I already know that something's not right here. So it has to look simple. It has to even look aesthetic. That's one of the biggest things. And then the second thing was, let me go back to my 4-hour. The second thing was confidence in your trade. So let's say you trade a breakout strategy or you trade a retest. Maybe the price comes up, retests the trend line, whatever it may be. You're able to see the confidence in your strategy by how soon you enter. Let's say you trade a breakout strategy like me, and the price of oil has crossed this downward trend line. But let's say you don't get into like 70, 72. That right there shows the lack of confidence in your trade because you entered way too late. Or let's say that maybe you trade the retest and it comes back and retests this trend line and then starts taking off. The fact that you didn't enter at the retest shows the lack of confidence in that trade. So I would say having the confidence, you're able to see it too with the trend lines, how soon the entry is. And then the second thing would be just take a step back and zoom out. You don't have to be, I mean, depending on what your trading style is, but you don't have to be looking at the 1 minute and you don't have to have 100 lines on the screen. So those are my two things with trend line trading.
I think the most important takeaway that I've had is just to keep things simple. And so I think that what a lot of folks will notice is that when you first start trading, you keep things simple. And then as you progress, you start to get way more complicated. And then as you kind of exit the storm, you go back to the simplicity, but with a lot more wisdom. So I think that's really cool to see it from that perspective.
Sweet.
Super cool, y'all. Blow up the chats. You guys know the drill. Shout out to everybody that's been on the stream. We have another about 20 minutes. We'll stay on. And of course, if you guys have questions, we can stay on for Q&A. So let's actually take some questions. If you guys have a question for a specific person, let me know. I will do my best to moderate it. Make sure that not everybody's kind of jumping on at the same time. So let me know if you guys have questions. I'll put together 4 or 5 really good ones and try your best to make it specific towards one person. If you just say, hey, this question's for anyone, it's going to make it hard to get, let's say 10 people to answer that question. So put those in the chat. Shout out to everybody that's been donating. Seriously, thank you guys. This is incredible. Few hours. Typically, we do a 24-hour stream, and that's how we're able to kind of raise that 15K goal. And just to have even been on here for a few hours and to have raised this is incredible. So thank you all for participating, and thank you to all the speakers, of course, for taking time out of your day and really sharing some value with us. Now, what I want to do is I kind of just want to break down fundamentals. I kind of just want to talk to you guys about what's happening in the economy today, because that's one place I feel like we haven't talked about and where I can add some value. So just regarding the economy, there's one major theme that took over last year, which was inflation. And so we kind of went through a 14-year period of money printing that created a massive inflation problem where there was too much money in the system. Prices went haywire. And then since last year, we've sort of been trying to unwind that entire system. And what we're finding is it's a lot harder to unwind it without crashing the economy. So the Feds had a pretty tough job, basically choosing between crashing the economy and fixing this inflation problem. Why is inflation so bad? Is because most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So if the price at the grocery store is going up, if the price at, let's say just all types of costs, food costs, shelter costs, energy costs, gas prices, everything else is starting to go up. There's no money left over to be able to pay those bills, creates a lot of strain on the majority of the country. So very important for the Fed to get it under control. This year, the Fed was doing their best to try to get the economy under control and to try to slow down inflation. But then we had a banking crisis. Because of the banking crisis, the Fed's printing money. And because of this money printing, this is going to make inflation a lot worse. So we're kind of resetting the clock on all the progress we've made over the past 12 months. All the progress the Fed has made, removing money from the system, has been completely undone. At least half of it has been undone. And what we're going to see is inflation's about to start getting worse, and the Fed's going to have to get more aggressive, which means that there's a recession very, very likely this year. So as we go to the end of Q2 and enter Q3, we're going to start to see those recessionary signs. And the Fed's going to come in, save the day, and print the money. So that's the cycle. They're printing money. It's going to make things worse. They're going to have to get more aggressive, which is going to crash the economy, which means they're going to have to print money sometime this year.
This is the Fed printing money right now. This is the Fed printing money like this.
James, what are you doing right now?
This is the Fed. I'm the Fed, bro. I'm printing money right now.
No, I need you to articulate exactly what you're doing right now.
Printing money, bro. What do you mean?
The Fed's not about to print. Well, the Fed's already printing money, but I think that they're going to have to go through a tightening cycle here pretty soon. Because if you introduce 500 billion into the economy, and people are going to start to raise their prices in anticipation. And that's where we start to get all these problems. Is like all these corporations, all these businesses start to raise their prices, and it makes inflation worse. So the Fed's going to have to crash the economy sometime in Q3.
Bro, historically speaking, the interest rate has to go above the percentage of inflation to actually, lower it. It's a lot easier for us to go, what was the peak in what, July or August was what, 9.2%? Or so we have to go, it's a lot easier to go from 9% to 6% where we are roughly now than it is to go from 6% to 3%, right? So inflation, in my opinion, has already started to bottom out. at this point. So, we need to, the terminal rate, I believe will exceed 6%, at least 6 to 7% is where I think they'll start to potentially, I just don't think that, we're still printing money, like that's been our, we've kicked the can down the road, like you said, for 15 years. Realistically, we've been kicking the can down the road for 50 years, and it's just been more money, more inflation, more this, more that. Now we're in a really bad scenario where the solution that we have no more band-aids. Like we're bleeding internally. We could keep putting band-aids over it, but we have a much larger issue at hand, and yeah, so the balance sheet, we unwound, the last 9 months of the tightening that we've done. So, that's scary. Honestly, that's scary. And now we put so much pressure on the banks that look what happened. They started to collapse. So we're in a really, really tight scenario right now, and it's very interesting to see. But yeah, just look at the balance sheet since 2008. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
For sure. I mean, even just the past 2 years, like from 3.8 trillion up to 9 trillion. That's almost triple. So
Right.
just the fact that we've introduced this much money and then they've been trying to get it under control. But if you look at it, we've barely made a dent. And then we've basically, just like you said, we've just undone the majority of that quantitative tightening. So in case you guys don't understand what this means, is the Federal Reserve's balance sheet is how much money they're putting into the economy. So what this means is they're going to their member banks and they're buying their stocks and bonds, and instead they're giving them cash. They'll go to JP Morgan, Citibank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and they'll basically take some of their bonds and stocks and mortgage-backed securities off their balance sheet and just flood them with cash. And how they do that is they just go into the database and they say, okay, JP Morgan, instead of having 1.8 billion, now they have 2.5 billion with us. And then JP Morgan goes and lends all that money into the economy. The more money that's slushing around, the more expensive that things get. So I just want you guys to understand that we were getting inflation under control, but over the past 2 weeks, we've basically undone the majority of it to try to stop a systemic banking crisis. And if we hadn't had stopped the systemic banking crisis, this would be a lot worse. And so there's more of this to come. And over the next 2 to 3 months, I think that we're going to start to see more banks start to collapse.
They need to hold these people accountable. That's the biggest thing, is that there's no accountability for mismanaging the funds, for, allocating too many resources and bond. That's what happened to the Silicon Valley Bank. They just went balls deep into bonds that were very risky. Credit Suisse, balls deep into bonds, like interest rates go up, the bond market, takes a shit. So it's really interesting. And the real inflation is way higher than what CPI is. They're doing everything they can under the sun to basically manipulate the numbers. They changed the calculation of CPI starting in January. They changed it from a 2-year basket to a 1-year basket. So if you go look, like I told you, go look at the oil reserves, right? Our petroleum reserves, we had 600 million barrels of oil in our reserves like 6 to 9 months ago, and we're down to half of that. So the Biden administration, go look up SPR, Strategic Petroleum Reserves. Yeah. The Biden administration is basically flooding the market full of oil, because gas and oil are basically the building blocks of almost everything. So the cost of energy has a high correlation with the cost of goods, services, this and that, transporting. So the price of oil should be way higher than what it is right now. And OPEC is going to be announcing production cuts, as well as Saudi Arabia and Russia already announced that they want to cut their production of oil as well. So what happens if we have a low production of oil and we still maintain demand? Price is going to go a lot higher. Someone in the chat says World War III, that we're on the brink of a serious war at any moment. At any moment, tensions are very high. Like, I actually have a Telegram group that tracks like military aircraft movements, and military aircraft have been going crazy. There's been all kinds of aircraft visiting the United States and things that are just very out of the ordinary. So honestly, like tensions are very high. At any moment, if any NATO country gets attacked, we're all going crazy, So it's a very interesting. But at the end of the day, like, there's a reason why gold is going up so much. I think oil is poised for a very, very strong move to the upside, because realistically, it's real cash. Fiat. People are losing faith in fiat currencies and things that hold real value, tangible assets like gold and oil, precious metals, silver, platinum, all these things. So that's my take on it.
No, I completely agree. Especially like when things get tough for trade, when things get tough geopolitically, trade takes a hit. So back when we had trade wars with China, it was very hard for us to get exports out of China and very hard for us to import things, which kind of created a strain on pricing. So that's kind of what we might see. James, what's your take on this whole petro yuan thing, where they want to start taking oil trades in different? Well, first off,
yeah,
we're about to get really deep into this. Let me just wrap up the webinar real quick for folks that have to hop off. Let me say thank you to all the speakers.
100%.
Anyone who wants to stay on for the real heat, deal, stick around, and we're gonna basically keep the show rolling. But Chris, Charlene, Austin, Tori, Jason, Sai, everybody who spoke today, I really appreciate you guys. Jackpot, I don't know if he's still here. Andy, everyone who spoke today, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your days to make it on. Thank you guys for bringing a ton of great energy, a ton of great wisdom, and thank you guys for all your incredible donations. Charlene and Chris, you guys are class acts. Thank you guys for the incredible donation. I hope that you guys take an example from what they did and go ahead and put in those donations. Giveaways will be announced to your emails, and so we'll be coordinating those based on whoever donated. And so help me blow up the chats and just say thank you.
And pull up to the FX Summit, because if you don't pull up, then you just lost the game.
You're playing yourself. FX Summit 2023. It's a conference for all investors, traders, and crypto lovers. All of the traders who spoke today are going to be at the conference. And so if you guys want to come and meet us and come and learn from us in person, FX Summit 2023, it's going to be in Miami Beach, June 9th, the 11th. We'll see you there. All right. If you guys have to hop off, take it easy. If you guys want to stick around, we're going to be talking fundamentals, and we'll be talking charts.
But yeah, to expand on that, bro, the petrol situation, you know, the United States has already lost ever since they ostracized Russia from like the SWIFT banking system. That was really the start of the demise of the United States, I think, as obviously they hold a dominance still, but you know, now Russia look toward China, and you know, Russia and China have their own thing going on, and China is a powerhouse. So, you know, people are losing faith in the dollar. You know, people don't really want to revolve around the dollar so much, you know, especially look what happened to all these Russian oligarchs that had all their assets and their yachts and things seized, and people are, you know, the world is watching, and the world says, well, if you can do that to us, then, you know, we don't want that, you know, at the end of the day. So it's a very interesting situation, but it was kind of inevitable at this point. You know, they kind of, the United States has been a bully, you know, at the end of the day, whether people want to realize it or not. So, you know,
I honestly just think it's a false flag. I mean, it's really important because it kind of shows you their intention. They clearly want to have a new petro system. But they've been like, everyone's been trying to replace the dollar for like 30 or 40 years. And it's not going to happen. Because I tell people on the ChartEdX team all the time, it's like, when was the last time you went to a foreign country and they accepted rubles or yuan or some shit?
Right.
Like you can't. You can go to Turkey, you can go to Mexico, you can go to Ecuador, and they'll always take dollars. And so that's a pretty heavy system to unwind. And so,
but that's it. Those are like lower level. When you're talking like China and Russia, like that's, you know, bigger systems at play. So I think it's not going to happen overnight, but it's starting to happen. You know, they're not going to go away, bro, but they're losing their footing for sure.
Yo, guys, I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo, so the bottom line of who has the reserve currency is military, right?
Right. Well, that's a big reason why, and I don't mean to cut you off, but that's a big reason why the United States is a reserve, is because we pay for NATO, right? NATO is the cornerstone of a lot. So that's why you know, in exchange for military and resources, we use our currency, basically. Go ahead.
I mean, there's a lot of concern about the US's military strength at the moment, though, compared to China and Russia. Do you think there's a way out of this besides war?
I don't think at this point, I mean, nobody wants war. Truthfully, I don't think anybody wants war. To be honest with you, I think it's all like scare tactics, and it's kind of almost like it's very similar to the Cold War. It's like a lot of talk, a lot of this, you know, but if a war does break out, bro, it's going to be catastrophic. Like you don't have fucking bayonets anymore, bro. Like, you know, we have real fucking deal shit. It's, you know, it's going to be drones and nukes and this, like, scary shit, bro, you know?
Let me put this in perspective. America spends more on military than the Western world.
The next 7 or 8 big countries
combined.
Right.
Combined. Right. And so the reason for that is to protect the petrodollar system. So if you guys look at a lot of the military actions we've taken over the past, let's say 30 or 40 years, displacing a lot of country leaders, it's typically because they started to transact in their local currency for oil as opposed to using the petrodollar system. like from the Gaddafis all the way down to the Saddam Husseins, like all the way through. And so there's a very important vested interest in keeping the petrodollar system alive. And I think that if it does get to military action, it will. So at the end of the day, if that, okay, we know that the China and the Russia partnership is real when America starts lining up military ships on the South China Sea, because that's what it's going to get to. So in the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to see a head-to-head collision between us and China. Just hopefully we can kind of put up some guardrails before then.
Roy, does any of that 778 billion, is any of that part of what's going to NATO, or is that all staying within the US though?
No, this is just strictly military budget.
Just for the US?
Just for the US.
Okay.
Yep. So if you look at this, it's like America's in such a strategic position. So if you look at military speaking, we have two incredible borders, which is the Pacific and the Atlantic. So we see things coming from miles away. We have very friendly neighbors with Canada and Mexico. We have enough food, water, and energy to last us 5 to 10 years. And so America is the most equipped to handle any sort of global shock. And so that's why I feel like if it comes down to it, China's people will need food, water, and energy before Americans would. And so that's why no one's going to risk a military conflict, because it would hurt everybody else way before it would hurt us.
So then what do you feel like is emboldening countries like Saudi Arabia that normally had a really strong loyalty to the US to kind of join in on BRICS and some other countries?
I mean, to be honest, it's kind of like
in the
when
past would have been scared to.
It's kind of like when the teacher leaves the room. It's like you look at who the leadership is in the White House and you ask yourself, okay, if there's a chance for us to advance ourselves strategically, wouldn't this be the time right now under weak leadership? And so I think that that's their priority. It's kind of taking advantage of the moment to advance themselves slowly. Let me go through two things I want to show you guys. First, JPY index. I want to give a shout out to James for putting me on this, because it's way cleaner than the Japan index I was using
clean,
before.
right? It's very clean, this chart, bro. I love
so
this
clean.
chart.
And so what we can see clearly is we've hit a ceiling here. And the index is starting to kind of push back to the downside and engulf this previous week. And so if this week closes bearish like this, there's a good chance that we continue to the downside. So if you guys have been trading GJ or UJ or CAD JPY, if you guys have been looking for those long positions, this is going to be the catalyst for it. As long as the Japan index continues to the downside, all of the JPY crosses will continue counter correlated. So anything with a JPY at the end of it will go up if the JPY index is coming down. So why hasn't UJ flown before? It's because there's two things happening is, yes, Japan's getting weaker, but also the dollar is starting to lose strength as well. So when you have two currencies moving in the same direction and you're trying to trade that pair, it's just a game of who's falling faster. And the dollar typically, is the heaviest currency in between these pairs. So what we're looking at right now is the DXY, which is the dollar versus a basket of global currencies. We've seen that we had a massive jump starting in February of this year. We climbed up all the way to the 106 level, and now we're in a massive retracement. So as long as we can stay above this 101 level, there's a good chance the dollar continues to the upside. So everyone thinks that when we start printing dollars, the dollar has to crash. In all reality, when we start printing dollars, the rest of the world has to start printing as well. And when everyone's printing at the same time, typically demand for dollars go up. And so I am still expecting a bullish dollar, but we just have to make sure that we maintain above the 101 level. So that's how you can kind of combine the fundamentals with the technicals to figure out where the directional bias is on a pair for the long term. You knew South Africa and Russia were teaming up when price. Okay.
They're gonna appoint a new chief for the Bank of Japan as well, so he may have a different outlook. So I honestly think the yen could go bullish. I think it could go bullish, but we'll see.
Brother, keep wishing.
We'll see. We'll see.
It's the yen is monopoly money at this point. So as long as they continue to have low rates and
for now,
bro,
they have really bad inflation there, bro. It's really bad.
Do they?
Yeah, it's pretty bad, bro.
Japan hasn't had inflation in like 30 years, so they might need some.
Yeah, they're eating some right now, bro.
Hey, quick question.
2% has now exceeded the 2% target for 9 months. Whoa.
Yeah.
Bro, they have like 3% inflation. Like if we're gonna compare. Yeah, but talk to me. Is that Mo?
A quick question. It's about what was the
Dylan.
index called? JPY basket? Was it? What was it?
Yes, the
Look,
yen
yeah,
index basket.
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome. Appreciate
yeah.
it.
On TradingView, yeah, it should be JPY basket.
All right, got it. Thank you.
It's on FXCM. Yeah, go ahead.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, whoever annotated my screen, bro, take this thing off.
You can delete it, bro. Just go to you can delete annotations.
Yeah, but I want that person to take some sort of accountability. Because I'm
do
out
it, do
here
it for
focusing.
him, bro. Just give him the boot, bro.
All
It'll
right.
tell you if you hover over it. It should tell you who. did it.
Should I read him a bedtime story too?
Yeah, bro. Send him to bed, bro.
All right. So yeah, Japan index, at least for the short term, I do see us breaking these lows, and I do see the yen continuing to get weaker. So UJ and GJ, these were the reasons behind these trades. So GJ longs, support, daily support. We managed to break under, and so it kind of grabbed all the liquidity from everyone who was kind of entering early. So early buyers always got crushed, and then we had an engulfing come right back inside of the range. So once price kind of came back inside the range, for me personally, I go onto the smaller time frames and I look for retest entries back inside of my daily support. And so we took that long position, and I actually closed out of this trade early, so it's running now, but I closed it down here at this previous area right here.
You can hold it, Roy. I believe in you.
I'm holding UJ. So I'm not making that mistake again. UJ, same idea, except we kind of had the inverted head and shoulders, my favorite reversal pattern. I like when price breaks through the daily zone, comes back to retest inside, and then again, a second retest.
I like UJ longs, but I think there's other dollar pair. I think USD CHF could be a play too.
I was trying to go long on UCAD. I was waiting for the same thing. Once we had the engulfing inside the range, I actually entered this trade right here, and then price started to fill and close below the lows, so I ended up closing that long. That's what's making me think the dollar has a little bit of room to go. Let's check the other crosses real quick. Dude, FXCM has the worst charts. I hope they're watching this. Shout out to Owanda. All right. So, I mean, it looks like we're at weekly lows. We're starting to lose momentum on the selling side, and we're starting to create a floor here. You guys can see all the bodies of the candles are closing above this floor. So we have our wick zone down here, and then we have the body of the candles closing here. So as long as the bodies keep closing above that 0.92 level, there's a good chance that this thing continues back up to these highs. So scale down. It's what happens when you don't have accountability, James.
What happens? What happens?
People just start drawing on the screen.
Oh,
Like, oh, that other person
just,
didn't get in trouble.
Just get him gone, bro. Get him gone.
That's
Damn,
what happened.
delinquents.
No, I had to kick that kid off the team. What'd y'all say?
We were just saying to get those delinquents out of here.
It's a childish. What's that Key and Peele skill? The Key and Peele skit where he's the substitute teacher. That's how I feel right now. Just insubordinate.
The Aaron.
The Aaron, exactly. It's an insubordinate and churlish.
Rice said, "Send him to the gulag."
Bro, that's what we've been doing. If people act crazy in the Chart Addicts chat, we put them in the waiting room. That's the gulag. That's strike one. If you come back and you keep talking crazy, you're going to jail. Permanent jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect chance cards. Nothing. Jail. You're off the call. And if you really, Max, don't call Gio out like that. All right. Don't do that. Don't be snitching on your friends like that. It's not cool. But yes, Gio did get sent to the gulag.
Quick question.
What's up?
Do you have any thoughts on NASDAQ?
Do I have any thoughts? I thought you would never ask.
Because I love that pair. So.
Yep. So I typically look for swing trade positions when I'm looking at currency pairs, but my what I day trade is NAS 100. So what I typically do is show up pre-New York Open, look for market structure, and then I typically trade off of the highs and lows of the previous sessions. So what do I see for NASDAQ? We took shorts earlier this week, created tons of resistance here. on the smaller time frames. We had this level, and then we have this daily support. So a lot of people don't like trading in consolidations, but I find it to be the most profitable for me, because as soon as price is going sideways, it's like playing ping pong. As long as you don't get trapped in liquidity grabs on the bottom and the tops, then it can be pretty profitable. So the market will liquidity grab a few times outside of your ranges, but if you took every other trade inside the range, you'd be profitable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
People focus too much on these and not enough on everything else, because folks are trying to, you're trying to guess the breakout. As soon as the market starts to break out of a consolidation, everyone's trying to look for this, right? This is the dumbest shit that's ever happened to trading. All right. Now, there are scenarios, obviously, in a trending market, the market makes impulses and retracements. We all know that. But I'm talking about that perfect break and retest. I'm talking about you got a box, and as soon as it dips its head above the box and makes that first retest, everyone's piling in right here. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about structure making impulses and pullbacks and then the next impulse of structure. Let's go ahead and get that clear before people tell me that I don't understand market structure. So then once the market breaks back inside of my daily support level, we can't chase. So if you guys look at what the risk and reward would be for this trade. So the R&R for this is 1.5 to 1. And so if you took this trade, for every 1,000 you're risking, you're only making back 1,400 or 1,500. For every 10K, you're making back 14, 15K. Now, if you waited for a pullback, let's say down to these wicks or down to the daily low. For me personally, I prefer the daily low. Then your R&R is 3.7 to 1. So you guys gotta look at it like 1.5 to 1 versus 3.7 to 1. That's why we wait for the entry. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
All right. And same goes for US 30 as well, right?
I'll go through US 30. Everyone wants to kind of make it simple and just kind of like box them both together, but they are different pairs. And so we'll go through those.
Awesome.
But this actually does look like a pretty good trade. I want to see a pushback to the bottom of the daily zone to the 78 right here. And then just a continuation to the top of the range.
Yeah, okay.
So more than likely, this thing's going to consolidate until London. During London, it might push up just a little bit more. And then pre-New York, we might get that pullback. And then US 30. Short's not looking too hot. Short's not looking too hot. So we had this double top rejection. I was looking for price to start making its way back inside of this range. So again, guys, I love trading box, like the inside of the consolidations. And every once in a while, the market will push out of the range and then make its way back in. And so I'm kind of being patient to see if this is one of those scenarios where the market's going to push back inside the range. But the way that markets build bullish structure is you have previous areas of resistance, and then the market will start to create a new floor. So here we have a previous ceiling that's now turned into a floor, and then another 4-hour candle, third 4-hour candle, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So probably 15 or 16 4-hour candles that are closing above this previous zone. This is typically where we'll see the market continue to the upside. So I am being mindful. The only way I would get back in the shorts is if the market goes through the zone and then it closes back in, just like this.
Okay,
if we have another liquidity grab through the zone, then I'm going to short it all the way through.
Oh, okay.
And the most high probability trade is if you have a bearish engulfing, retest of the highs of the zone, sells all the way back down.
Got it.
I just gave you guys the sauce. All right.
Free trade right there.
That's the strategy right there.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. For sure. Great question, bro. I wouldn't want to spend my Tuesday night anywhere else. Yeah, I mean, somebody's watching Netflix somewhere. Someone's out there staring at the back of their phone or some dumb shit. They're staring at their phone backwards. I don't know what people do on Tuesdays. I know what we do on Tuesdays. We donate to charity. We talk about trades, right? This UJ trade is bussing. I'm in a great mood. I don't know. So you guys have any questions before we hop off?
Yo, is it time to short the indexes? What do you think, my friend?
No, I'm gonna wake you up when it's time. So I'm just gonna give you the call, and bring you out of hibernation.
Wake up the bear out of hibernation, bro.
I'm ready.
The bear wants to get out of hibernation, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there is a short opportunity right here. Like just one more test. Clear these
NASDAQ,
highs.
yeah. Yo, look at Dax, bro. Look at Jer 30. That's a fantastic higher time frame setup, bro.
So I've never analyzed the DAX. Oh, what the
Oh,
fuck?
that's definitely not it, bro.
Oh, you're talking about
Dax,
Jer
look at the
30.
one with the German flag. Yeah, no, Dax, it's the same thing.
Well, these
Yeah,
this is
global prime
CFDs.
is fine. Global prime is fine.
Okay.
Go to like the
Ooh.
weekly, bro.
I'm not gonna hold you, my boy. This thing's about to pop.
Go to the
bullish.
week. Nah, bro. Go to the weekly, bro, and zoom out, please.
Hold on. I'm not gonna hold you. This thing's about to fly.
Okay. Let's all right. Let's do this.
He's
Let's
like,
do this.
okay.
Let's put 10K on the line versus me and you, and we both put a 0.01. And the first person to catch how many points? 1,000 points, 500 points.
You
Right
should
now,
make a
live on
bet-
the stream.
you should-
Live on the stream.
You should make a bet with the people who are buying this. You should put in a trade and make the bet with the buyers. And I think that someone's gonna win money and someone's gonna lose. I mean, I don't know.
man.
I mean, maybe I'm tripping.
Zoom
You
out.
guys
Yeah,
tell
go
me.
to the bro. Zoom out and go to the weekly, bro. Zoom out,
Bro,
bro.
the higher I go, the worse it's looking. For you. I'm just saying, you know, you really want me to go to the weekly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I do,
All
bro.
right.
I don't know, bro. You really think that's bullish, bro? Really? Interesting.
Guys, am I high or is this bullish?
The only thing that's high is fucking Dax, bro. That's the only thing that's high.
All right, let's break this down. Let's just look
I
at
mean, we
let's just
do
look
got
at
new
structure
lows in
here.
the market, so
So it looks like when price is above this zone, it's acting as support. And it looks like when price is below the zone, it's acting as resistance. And it looks like right now we've broken above the zone and we're acting as support. So I don't know.
he does got a point. He does got a point.
No. I could be bugging. No. Like you don't understand. Like I
No,
really could be. I really could be tripping
He
right
does
now.
got a point.
I think you are tripping, bro. Truthfully, honestly.
Bro, tell me one thing about Germany. Like I don't. The only thing I know about Germany is cars are their biggest export. They're the biggest economy in the European Union, and they're horrible at making business deals. So what do you know about Germany? And like if I wanted to study something fundamentally about the Jer 30, what would I look at?
I mean, I just think there's a lot of turmoil in Europe, bro. Like that's a lot closer to home over there versus in the United States, you know, especially if a war does break out over there, bro, it's gonna be, I mean, go look at what happened. You can see right where your cursor just was, where when the Russia-Ukraine invasion happened, bro. Look what happened in the market, bro. I mean, that was a combination of a lot of things, but we're back in that area. I trade supply and demand, bro. So those collection of wicks right there on the weekly is a major supply area. The monthly is about to close with an engulfing. On Friday, well, actually, yeah, the monthly candle closes on Friday. So PCE, right? PCE is on Friday. PCE price
Yeah, and we
index.
have GDP on Thursday
Yeah, so
for Q1 or for Q4. of last year.
GDP is going to come out negative, right? And PCE is probably going to come out positive. I assume that will end the monthly candle very bearish. Yeah, there's a wick, of course, but we also just printed how much money, so that's just a lot of stimulus entering the market. But overall, bro, inflation is going to kill us if we don't get it under control. So
I'm 100%.
the hikes are coming, bro. They're coming, and I'm just going based off of the fact that I'm bearish on all the indices, and Jer 30, based on the higher time frames, has a way better risk to reward compared to US 30, Nasdaq, S&P. Like they've all done a lot more correction versus Jer, which is only down like 7% off of the all-time highs. So I'm looking based off the all-time highs to where current prices and how much we've corrected already. And
Bro, I
Jer
might have
30.
to take you up. Look, I might have to take you up on that bet.
Yeah, you down?
Austin, you trying to sponsor me?
Yeah, I'm down, bro. Put the trades in right now, bro. Current
Yeah,
price,
no,
bro.
The more I look at it, the better it's looking. No, if I was to trade this, there's two things I would look at. So, I would look for the wedge fake out. So if it kind of like pushed out and then came back and closed above these highs, then I would look for a retest and take the long. For shorts, if it just closes down here, just hangs out,
I mean, look at that support, that resistance. Sorry, the support that was just broken and is currently being retested. I don't really. Okay, I trade technicals obviously, but beyond like fundamentals are just way more important for me. I could trade with my eyes closed, honestly. If you just told me what the news is, Straight
Bro,
up.
China's going to war with everybody. To sell everything.
Oh, Hill says James gonna lose. He's forward thinking. I mean, the market is forward thinking as well. So you can't say that. You can't. Obviously, you don't want to over predict, but you have to have some type of forward looking ability in the market. You can't just react because 9 times out of 10, you don't have the full perspective. You need to kind of formulate your own perspective.
100% agree.
Structure is important to me.
Yeah, no, markets are always betting like 6 months in advance.
Yeah, 100%.
That's why like everyone will be like, Roy, there's a news event dropping today. How come the market did this? Because they baked in that news into the price weeks ago or months ago. And right now they're reacting to what might happen 4 or 5 months from now. So Japan index is
we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to the stream in 6 months. And all right, how about this? Remember that shoe you were supposed to eat like 3 years in a row?
Bro, chill. Bitcoin's still gonna hit 100K, and I'm not gonna eat my shoe.
Bro, I'm gonna give you 2 pairs of shoes to eat, bro. All right, when I see you.
I got the receipts, bro. Come on,
bro. Why are you always chiming in at the worst time, Anthony? So why, bro?
Perfect time.
For those of you that don't know, Roy, tell them what happened about the shoes that you're supposed to eat.
All right. The last time we did a charity stream, we were all talking about Bitcoin. And I said, if Bitcoin doesn't hit 100K by 2024, I was going to eat my shoe. Not a dirty or not a clean shoe, but like a dirty shoe, like a little piece of it, not the whole thing.
Like a shoe like that's like hanging on the power lines, like that type of shoe.
Like a dirty shoe. Like, no, it's going to be one of my shoes at least, but like, it's still fucking disgusting. I'm still probably going to catch Hep C from it. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because I still believe that Bitcoin is going to reach over 100K after the next halving. Probably 6 months after the next halving.
Let's get a date. Let's get a date on it.
By the end of 2024.
The end of 2024. That's overzealous, bro.
Can I give you my breakdown? Can I at least justify?
I mean, I do, but no, trust me. I think in 2024, the halving will definitely push prices higher, right? And we will probably get some rate cuts, which will alleviate a lot of the downside pressures, and we'll have another bullish cycle. But
dude, we might get cuts this year. We might get cuts in November of this year.
We're not getting cuts this year, bro. I don't think so. I think the Fed grossly underestimates like how bad the inflation is.
Bro, you don't think we're cutting rates this year?
I think we'll go to 6 or 7% terminal rate, and I think we'll stay there for a bit. And then, remember, bro, in the 80s, bro, we had 22% fucking rates, bro.
Bro, if we hit 6%, all hell will break loose.
Well,
like if you're looking for short, if I'm talking about, I'm going to call you and wake you up for the biggest shorts, is if the terminal rate goes above 6%, the economy will go into a massive shock. And the Fed's either going to watch it crash and burn, and Jerome Powell is going to be the first Fed chair to actually let the recession happen, or they're going to step in and print money. Which one do you think is going to happen?
Well, they already stepped in and printed money, but it's only going to make the problem worse, right?
I mean, yeah, bro, this is not going to end well. I'm just let you know this right now. But America, the US dollar will be the last currency standing. Japan will be the first one out the door, and so will the euro. Let me give you guys my quick take on Bitcoin before we hop off here.
What happens when inflation goes, beyond back up to above 7%?
Well, everyone is going to start printing. If America's printing, they can't allow the value of their local currencies to get that far displaced from the dollar. So they're going to start to print as well. So inflation is going to start to get worse in other countries than it is here. What do I think is going to happen in America is, let's look at what the biggest deflationary forces are, is technology. So Amazon did more to reduce deflation than the Fed ever could, because they're keeping prices low. Chris, I appreciate you hopping on, bro.
I think AI as well will have a huge impact, bro. In the AI, but I think it will be deflationary, if you really think about it, because what is the prices of things are going to change, right? If you were paying, let's say you were paying an employee $20 to fucking flip burgers, and now a robot's doing that, like now minimum wage is meaningless at this point. So a lot of things will be disrupted with AI.
For sure. So I think that America itself has enough of those deflationary forces, like technology, like AI, and some of these other things. So if you look at things might get more expensive in terms of global supply chains like plastics and raw materials. But if Amazon keeps prices extremely cheap and is cheaper than it is to go and buy it from Walmart or somebody else, then inflation can't really ramp up. So I do think that there's going to be competition creates deflation. But let me walk through Bitcoin real quick. Every single cycle, there's a massive bull run followed by a massive correction. After the correction, there's typically this false rally. The false rally is where everybody thinks that they're going to hit rich again, and they put all the money that they made back into the lows, and they think that it's going to hit all-time highs, and it doesn't. I was there. I've been through this. So then typically what you have is this sort of dry period. In the dry period, you have a few moments where the market makes these false flags, and then it makes one more crash. The market has not hit a bottom until people have panicked. So everyone is like bored of crypto over here, but everyone's still kind of bullish. Until the markets really crash, people don't really capitulate. And so capitulation is where smart investors tend to get in. Then you have the next bull run, same thing. You have the correction back down. Then you have the false flag. After the false flag, you have the true break. All the buyers start to capitulate, and this is where institutional investors start to really pile in before the next bull run. So now what phase of this cycle are we in? We had this massive bull rally, and then we had the correction, and now we are on the false flag. So after the false flag, there's typically a period of consolidation where we break the lows. And then once we break the lows, all the buyers and late buyers capitulate, and then institutions come in and we get to pop off. And this timeline kind of goes in line with the 2024 halving and could be a catalyst for Bitcoin to go to the upside. Now, do you guys see why I said I would eat my shoe? Because at first, some of you guys don't really understand, how my terms of speech. And you guys were like, Roy is going to eat his shoe. That's a crazy person. And now I just broke it down for you. So maybe it makes sense for some of you guys and puts it back into perspective. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure to donate on your way out, hit like and subscribe, and make sure to grab your tickets to the FX Summit 2023 conference to see me, James, Austin, Tori, Jason, Sai, and all the incredible people that came and spoke today, from Umar to Andy to Chris to Charlene. If you guys want to come and meet us and talk to us in person, FX Summit 2023 conference, make sure that you guys grab your tickets at fxsummit2023.com, and make sure that you guys donate to get parts of the raffles that we're going to be giving out. So the raffles that we did not mention, we'll go to the email, make sure that you guys get it, and we'll pick probably 20 or 30 names out of random, and we're going to give out some VIP tickets to the summit. So I appreciate everybody that was on this, all the speakers and all the attendees. Leave something in the chats on your way out. Take it easy. Have a great night. Peace.
Yo, thanks for having me, Roy.
My guy, appreciate you getting on.
Love,
No doubt, bro. Short shirt 30.
Bro, ain't nobody short enough shirt 30.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man.